I always have to start this out as annoyingly as possible. And with that in mind, hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality, and welcome to Live and Wired, episode 30, Hard Reset. And let me just make, I'm sure I'm going to be popping up any second now, and I'm going to be annoying as piss, but I'm not showing up yet. This is really confusing me. Oh boy, what are you doing to me, Google? What are you doing? You say the broadcast is going, but at the same time, you still say you're waiting for Dr. Shado. There I am.
I was about to tell you, by the way, hello everybody. I was about to tell you, it just popped up on my end, so.
Okay, so since I don't know if it actually made it, let me just say it again. Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shado, the internet personality, and welcome to Live and Wired episode 30, Hard Reset!
Because people don't hear you say that enough as it is, and as fast as that, so.
So, joining as always, we have that long-haired creepy guy.
Yo, Patricia Miranda will be with us. She had to go to a wedding today, and she was at the reception, but she just left, so hopefully she will arrive safely to her hotel room and join us. So just be patient. Until then, you have the train wreck of the show that is just Decker and I.
Oh, God. Oh, God. And I already used Panic at the live stream in the last episode. Shit!
Right.
The one that I thought she was going to not be here for like the whole thing, but instead, it turns out she was.
Jason, Epic Jason X9000 says, "Let's begin the insanity."
Southern Yankee's like, "Oh no, the show is doomed." Actually, Southern Yankee, maybe not Yankee. I don't know. Oh well. Hello from France. Hello, Caribus Marion. It's French. I obviously did not pronounce that right. So we got lots of little news clippets and snippets and dippin' dots. Damn it, where's Patricia? This has already gone to hell. Fuck.
Actually,
yes?
One other thing, Anthony Hudak, way up here, says, hey, Creepy, how much did you have to treat Decker for the Predator review? I treated him to nothing. He inflicted that on himself, all on his own. I gave him something else.
Jay Fernstein's asking, Decker, how goes the less beer thing? And pretty well. Last time I drank was like several days ago after watching Moontrap 2 for some unrelated reason. But I'm not feeling like, okay, it's evening, I'm relaxing, where's my beer anymore? That's like gone from my mind. I just don't think about it anymore. So that's good. I could just stop drinking entirely, and it really. But it's like, hey, if there's something going on, if there's a little celebration, if it's just super party weekend somewhere, I don't know. Yeah, I could still drink there. I just normal evening life. It no longer comes up. So yeah. Now excuse me while I gulp down on my third cup of coffee for the day.
Yeah, I don't know that Decker has fixed his addiction to beer so much as he's replaced it with a different kind of addiction.
Oh, boy.
John Ratsey, up further back, said, I cast my vote for Decker to play The Mask if they remake that movie, and I vote for Creepy to be his enemy. Do I get like a mask of my own? Do I get to steal it from Decker and have my own evil mask persona at least?
Scott Thomas is like, so there's a Moontrap 2 review coming? Yes, there is. I have the movie, I have seen it, and I have many, many questions as to how in the hell the original writer and director worked together on a sequel, and it can be so different in every possible way.
Studio interference. Duh.
What studio? It's like an independent frickin' film.
Producer interference. Or,
unless there was studio interference in the first movie, and then it's like he was like trying to do something, and they're like, no, cut back. We're gonna make this good, you son of a bitch. And he's like, all right. And then after he gets a little bit of money and he's fully able to do it himself, like, okay, we're doing this, and we get Target Earth out there. Holy.
Yeah. I mean, Decker, think about it. Isn't that what would happen to you if you were in the same situation?
Let's not split hairs here. Let's cut back on that topic a bit now. Let's talk about some other things involving Live Wired and the news that we have that, thanks to Patricia still having gone through and gathered up like all the news.
Thank you, Patricia. Even though you're not here, thank you for not leaving me with a completely clueless Decker
Are you sure about that, sir?
for a change of pace.
Yeah. So we got the great topics involving Nintendo and the what was Metroid Prime 4. Where the fuck is the damn topic? Damn it! It was here. I know it. Metroid Prime. There it is. There it is. So let me pop this up on my Surface, which wasn't a good idea because that means no, you can't see it. Should I pop it up on the desktop instead, Creek? Is that actually should I actually do things like we actually know what we're doing here? Let's do things like we know what we're doing here. I'm going to pop it up on the screen.
Sure.
Eventually. I brought it up on the wrong machine, and I can't pop it up on the screen on the machine I brought it up. I know what I've done this before. There it is. Yeah, I'm a smart to it. Smart.
And everybody knows that we have no fucking clue because you've been talking for this long.
We're back to your article in 8 seconds. Well, that's just great. That's just, I love this. Let's skip the ad. Yeah, fuck it. Okay. Skip the yeah. Okay, there we go. Nintendo brings in Retro Studios and restarts Metroid Prime 4 development from scratch. Now, Metroid Prime 4, of course, was teased a while back by Nintendo at E3, where all they showed was the logo. They didn't have any kind of gameplay, any kind of pre-alpha footage or anything. They were just like, hey, Metroid Prime 4, it's in development for the Nintendo Switch. And people walked away from that E3. Some of them said Nintendo won E3 on that logo alone. So, I mean, even though E3 isn't a competition, it's just a showcase. But people like competition. So, they... Let's read this out here. Nintendo is bringing in Retro Studios to work with Metroid Prime 4's producer to start over on game development, Nintendo announced Friday morning. This news comes about a year and a half after Nintendo announced that the game was in development for the Nintendo Switch internally. Producer Kensuke Tanabe previously worked on a slew of Nintendo titles, including Metroid Prime Federation Force, oh, great, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. We have decided to re-examine the development structure itself and change it, Shinya Takahashi said in a rare video from Nintendo on YouTube Friday morning. Specifically, we have decided to have the producer, Kensuke Tanabe, work in trust and collaboration with the studio that developed the original Metroid Prime series, Retro Studios, in the United States, and restart development from the beginning. The decision came after Nintendo decided that the current development progress had not reached the standards we seek in a sequel to the Metroid Prime series. Nintendo always strived for the highest quality.
Pause. Nintendo has standards?
Yes, Nintendo has standards. It's the Nintendo magic. It's the fact that they can release any game and there are no bugs in it, as long as you ignore all the bugs.
Continue.
Nintendo always strives for the highest quality in our games. In the development phase, we challenge ourselves and confront whether the game is living up to that quality on a daily basis, such as the many internal conversations they had when developing Splatoon and making rabbits shoot ink at each other, and then Miyamoto was like, can it be Mario? Very serious discussions.
Yes.
If we're not satisfied with the quality, we aren't able to deliver in our customers' confidence, and the game will not live up to our fans' expectations, Takahashi said. From this perspective, we have determined that the current development status of the game is very challenged, and we had to make a difficult decision as a development team. Takahashi said that by collaborating with Retro Studios, they believe they can make the game something that meets expectations. We did not make this decision lightly, he said. This change will essentially mean restarting development from the beginning, so the completion of the game will be delayed from our initial internal plan. We strongly recognize that with this delay, will come as a disappointment to the many fans who have been looking forward to the launch of Metroid Prime 4. He said that it will be a long road until Nintendo can next provide an update on the game's development, and that development will be extensive. The Metroid Prime series turned the beloved Metroid franchise into a first-person action-adventure game. Retro Studios developed the first 3 games in the series. News of the delay for the game comes as Nintendo clears a strong holiday season, the Nintendo Switch, but is still struggling to hit its ambitious goal of selling 20 million Nintendo Switch systems in the 2018 fiscal year. So yeah, that that was the little news of Metroid Prime 4 being oopsie doopsie, completely and utterly restarted from scratch, which means now technically there's going to be a Metroid Prime 3.5 out there, as others have pointed out.
I would like to point out that within this article, we had like maybe one paragraph devoted to the actual topic, like of, oops, we screwed up, Nintendo screwed up, they're going to scrap everything, give it over to a different developer, and have them build it from the ground up. And the rest of it was hyping how awesome Nintendo is.
Yeah. Anthony Hudak says, in other words, this game is shit, guys. We will not have a Fallout 76. And I feel like I'm like the only guy who's like still semi defending Fallout 76, because the problems with Fallout 76, which it has many problems, I view as the issue is it was released too damn early. It was still very damn buggy, too many big bugs for the concept of, hey guys, this is a release product.
Mm-hmm.
John Washburn says, I like 76, I hate the bugs. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's a lot of people always saying crap about Fallout 76, but it's kind of easy as a player of Fallout 76 to spot someone who isn't, because they complain about things that aren't problems, like saying that there's no story and nothing to do. There is plenty of story and a shitload of things to do. Saying there's no NPCs. There's technically no human NPCs, but there are NPCs populating the world. And they are essential, but they are robots, so it makes sense that you can unload a fuck ton of mini nukes in their face, and for some reason they don't die.
I will say, like, I haven't really heard many people who have actually played Fallout
76.
76. I was going to say 76, and then I just had a brain fart, and I was like, did I get the number right? Oh my god, I'm on camera. Did I get the number right? But yeah, like Fallout 76, the people who have actually played the game they tend to, at least the people I've spoken to, they tend to have more or less the same attitude. It's not perfect, it's not great, but it's fun. You know, I've heard the things I've heard from people who actually played the game, it leaned more towards the positive side. You know, yeah, there are problems with it, but it's fun and they enjoy playing with it. To get things back onto, go ahead.
Corey 2000 asks, is it Bethesda's fault or ours for wanting Fallout/Elder Scrolls games faster and better? I think that with Fallout 76, this falls more on, I'm not even sure if it's Bethesda or ZeniMax, because from where I'm sitting, it looks like they had the game, they had the concept. It works as a game if it functions, but they were still building it. But they had the planned, it's going to be ready by then, and they had all the merchandise lined up around that time, the deals with Loot Crate, all kinds of shit, all around that time that were all set to go right before the holiday. Lots of money right there, and the game wasn't fucking ready. And someone made the decision that it didn't matter that the game wasn't fucking ready. It's going out. We're getting these merchandising deals.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I kind of see it.
Getting things back to, Metroid for a second, what we were starting to talk about. To be honest with you, I kind of fell out of love with the Metroid series after Metroid Prime, after Super Metroid, which was the last Metroid game that I really played, and this was like way back in the Stone Age for the Super Nintendo. But it was still a game that I really loved. I considered it like the best Metroid game that they had. Of course, then the Nintendo 64 came out, which was kind of a debacle in and of itself, and I don't believe that it got a Metroid game. I know Castlevania, there was a Castlevania 64, and there were, the problem with the 64 in and of itself was that it didn't really have enough games to warrant buying one. But I just rented the damn thing so I could play a couple of them. But Metroid Prime on GameCube was a first-person shooter, and that was kind of the thing that immediately turned me off to it. I mean, sure, it had a lot of the same elements that other Metroid games had. You could collect different suits. You went
You had
around.
the platforming, you had exploration, and pretty much go wherever your abilities will let you.
It's just that you could turn into a little ball and roll and spin around and so forth. It's just that, well, it wasn't a first-person shooter, so you're limited by what's right in front of you. So, yeah, there were a few problems with that.
Oscar Oyeda says Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission on GBA were good, and those were 2D games similar to Super Metroid.
Mm.
As well, yeah, Zero Mission, that was like a remake of Metroid 1. And it included a sort of spot right at the end that kind of sort of explained the shift of suit design from Metroid 1 to Metroid 2.
Right. Craven Spider, by the way, asked, where's Chibi Thulu? He's right here.
And there was another comment that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, Brandon Kilgore says, I don't hate Resident Evil 2 redone. I just don't understand why nobody liked the pre-rendered one with tank controls. And yeah, that is one thing I'm personally curious of. Is like my fiance's been playing Resident Evil 2 Remake. We've got it. I could play it on the gaming channel if I find 5 minutes free again. But
well, that's his way of saying no, by the way, to anyone who's curious.
It's funny because like every time tank controls come up, everyone always says, no one likes tank controls. Tank controls are horrible. It's so difficult to control the game. And then we're watching other people play Resident Evil 2 on YouTube, and I'm watching her play it, and then I'm thinking, and I'm like, wait a minute, I just realized something. Because, my fiance, she has cerebral palsy, so dexterity in the hands, not the greatest. It's very difficult for her to play most games, but she keeps on trucking. She does it. She was playing Resident Evil 2, got killed in the first room, but she kept going. She's doing good. She's got, like, Mr. X chasing her around now. But I looked at it and I realized something, like, hey, Cha, you would probably have an easier time playing with the tank controls. Is that the way that was set up? It was the auto aim was so freaking strong. The aim assist with the classic games, it was personally easily abusable. That's how I would tell. Is that guy on the ground a living zombie that's going to bite my legs, or is he already dead? I'll turn over here, pull out my gun, and oh, okay, he's alive. Okay, is he dead yet? No, he's still alive. Is he dead yet? Okay, he's dead.
Pretty much. Although Resident Evil 2 was my favorite Resident Evil classic Resident Evil game out of the series, and I still have a lot of fondness for it.
Justin Joyce is saying, did you give up on your Borderlands classic co-op Let's Play? Only recall watching a few episodes. And yeah, it's been a few years. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I should get back to the Borderlands 2 VR Let's Play, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have an excuse of, my co-op partners, I can't get them to co-op anymore, because that one, single player only.
Mm-hmm.
It's also one of the reasons why I kind of stopped playing it, because I got a little bored. Co-op is a really fun aspect of Borderlands. Oh, well.
I do have a question. I know that you have a Twitter poll already, but I was wondering if we could if we could do 2 tonight, because I thought of a question before the show started, but I didn't get the chance to bring it up.
So should I do that Twitter poll, or should I do the one that I planned? Because we did technically cover the topic.
Let's do both. Let's just have 2 Twitter polls.
Just have both going at the same time. People can vote twice. Fuck it.
Yeah. Sure, why not? Okay, do yours first.
Okay, so Notice Me says Veronica's Touch. Okay. But anyway, the Live and Wired poll that I figured out is on the topic of...
Clearly the superior one.
On the topic of entertainment media being just canceled halfway through production and you start all the way fucking over from scratch, what in particular do you wish that they just scrapped and restarted halfway through production? First option is one that I actually mentioned when the first trailer reactions were brought out for everyone to see. The Predator. Remember my first reaction to hearing all that was, guys, don't do this. You can't fix this. Just stop, scrap it, restart over. Don't go. No. Yes. If you're a longtime fan of Live and Wired, you probably remember that little reaction there. Second option, Alien Covenant. And this one's a little bit trickier because it's a sequel to Prometheus, and it kind of follows up Prometheus, but it kind of doesn't. So it is kind of, they stopped the plan and reworked something, but would it? I don't know. Maybe. Is there something that can be done there? I'm not sure. Can the Twitter poll be danced on? I don't believe so, Rusted Cake. It's not that kind of poll. Option 3, even though I personally feel like it just needed a little more time in the oven, for everyone to vote, I still have Fallout 76 as one of the options. It's a very popular one to say, let's bring up bad game. Fallout 76. That's one of the go-tos. And finally, one that I'm pretty sure we can all agree on, it's on some level, Live and Wired. That is on Twitter at Decker Shado. You have 30 minutes starting now. Let me see about getting that posted to the chat. Creepy, you said you had an idea for a poll?
Yes. Since we were also talking about Metroid and, how it started off as a 2D platformer and was, very, very different type, which is a very different type of game altogether from first-person shooter before it became a first-person shooter. What video game do you think could be improved, air quotes, by being remade into a first-person shooter, FPS?
Okay.
Number 1, Pac-Man.
Oh, crap. Damn. No, not that. Oh, poll. There we go. Add poll. Okay. Pac-Man. Okay.
Number 2, Pitfall.
That could be fun. I technically did play a first-person Pac-Man way back in the day before actual 3D graphics were technically possible on PC. It was weird. You got to go to each end. It's just like teeth come down on the screen until it closes.
Number 3, Asteroids.
I don't know about first-person, but I think I have played like a 3D third-person kind of, you're behind the ship playing Asteroids kind of thing.
And number 4, Breath of Fire.
That is okay. I'm just thinking of like trying to do Breath of Fire kind of like an Elder Scrolls game, and it's just not really working, but my brain is trying so hard.
So we have 2 Twitter polls, one from Decker and one from Creepy.
Okay, so set that to 30 minutes starting now at Decker Shado on Twitter. And allow me to figure out where the fuck... There it is, okay. Copy link addressinator, go over to the chat, and drop that right in there. And Goku's on DBZ dropped $2 saying, make Mega Man into a first-person shooter. I actually, there was a mod for Doom, Sonic Doom. You know this one, Creepy?
I think so.
It actually did, like, it took background and tile textures from Sonic the Hedgehog, put that in the Doom engine, and increased the player speed, and all kinds of stuff. And rings to pick up, and you had a little gun to shoot the robots with, of course. Savage Tiger 13 dropped $20 saying, hey, Decker, got you this $20 from some guy in a blue thong who kept trying to shove his crotch in my face for some reason. Now have to run. Got an arm wrestling competition with Shaggy. Hopefully we don't break the moon again. Oh, God.
The planet so bad it broke the moon. How do you do that?
Oh, that's just combination of the 3 memes all together. It's creating a super meme. Phone, what do you want from me? Things making beep noises, and I'm like, wait, no, I'm doing Live and Wired. What is this? Oh, it's a Twitter notification because people are retweeting my stuff. Okay, I think that was actually you, Creepy, retweeting my stuff. Stop retweeting. Okay, no, actually do retweet. That helps you get around. But phone, stop beeping. I should probably just put it on silent when I'm doing this. Okay.
And you notice that this is all my fault now, somehow.
I'm going to silence this damn thing.
You couldn't have done that before the show started. Actually, I haven't silenced my phone before the show started. So.
When did Shaggy become such a meme? I don't know. It's the internet seems to have agreed that Shaggy is now. It's like you have the Goku versus Superman. That question is absolutely silly because, like, 5,000 levels above them, you have Shaggy.
Right. Who said my power level stopped at 100?
Oh god, we're gonna have to refresh Patricia on Shaggy stuff when she gets there.
So,
then, there was. Oh, that reminds. This is the perfect little segue. Saggy way. Patricia actually, Patricia knows enough about the Shaggy stuff because we got a little thing to share with you right here. An Mortal Kombat 11 petition to add Shaggy is quickly growing.
I'm not. There's no arguments here. Okay. We don't even know most of the base roster in Mortal Kombat 11 yet, but that isn't stopping fans from already looking forward to DLC characters. And who's at the top of the wish list of many? Shaggy Rogers of Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, of course. That's right. Earlier today, a petition on change.org was created to make Scooby Snack Lovin' Shaggy a DLC character in the upcoming installment of Mortal Kombat. Woken News Network is taking the much-needed initiative of starting this petition to make Shaggy a DLC character for Mortal Kombat 11. Thank you. Reads the petition. We're calling Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment to give the fans the fighter they most certainly need. At the moment of publishing, the petition already has well over 3,000 signers and is quickly growing. In fact, it has already grown by a couple hundred signatures since I first looked. So if you think that Shaggy should be in Mortal Kombat 11 to teach Shao Kahn a lesson for getting himself locked behind a pre-order wall, then get signing. There's almost no chance Shaggy will be edited as a DLC character, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. And I've seen crazier things happen in video games. Okay, now I need this in my life. I don't even play Mortal Kombat, and I want this.
Goku's on DBZ dropped $2 saying, I vote for Spawn in Mortal Kombat 11.
There's been a big call to have Spawn in Mortal Kombat for a long time.
Spawn was in Soul Calibur, if I recall correctly.
That was the one, yeah. That was it. But Spawn, he was in Soul Calibur. That was the one that he did get into. But there's been a call to have Spawn in Mortal Kombat for a very long time. So this is not the first time that has ever come up.
Brandon Kilgore is saying, and here I thought Mortal Kombat was getting a more serious story.
John Ratsey says, I want Dicker and Creepy in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, whoa, interesting. That last paragraph there, Creepy.
Oh, what's up?
Goku's on DBZ dropped $2 mentioning Spawn was in Soul Calibur 2.
Right. Okay.
Specifically.
Right, specifically Soul Calibur 2. Okay. The one thing Shaggy does have going for him is that his rights are already owned by Warner Brothers, so there wouldn't be, presumably, too much licensing obstacles in the way. However, I'm sure Warner Brothers doesn't want to ruin the image of their kid-friendly character by putting him in one of the most violent video game franchises ever.
Now, I want to see him do his fatality where he chops some motherfucker into little tiny bits and then stacks them up in between two slices of bread and eats them.
Ew. Mortal Kombat 11 is poised to be released on April 23rd via the PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Nintendo Switch. For more on the game,
they called the Predator a hack? Like, he doesn't know what he's doing? He's a little shitty piece of nothing? Okay, Sarcastic Meme 22 with Pooties dropped $2 saying, will you make a review of the Blob 1988? Geckos.
I remember that one.
I've been getting. There's been a lot of requests for the Blob remake. Blob, is there a Blob sequel? Anything Blobby, anything Blob. Probably while reviewing the Blob movies, also take to the gaming channel and play a little of a boy with his Blob.
Actually, okay, hold on, somebody. Jay Dean dropped $2 and said, "What? Shaggy over Scrappy Doo?"
And John Washburn's like, never mention Scrappy Doo. He says, make Shaggy in Mortal Kombat 11 the Matt Lilliard version from the LA movies and add Fred, and we can take out our frustrations over the Wing Commander movie.
I want to say that the original Blob movie from the, 50s or 60s?
Oh yeah, that 1988 was a remake of the Blob too.
Right, it was a remake of it, but the original. I'm looking this up on the laptop right now, so bear with me. The Blob.
Let's see. Hey, we can dream. If they put a hack like Predator in the game, there's a chance they can put Shaggy in there too. I know I would buy the season pass just to play as him, and I'm sure many others would as well. So if you'd like to see this happen, make sure to sign that bad boy and spread awareness. If there's ever been a cause to get behind, this is it. It's a comment.
Yeah.
It's 1 week free of naked people. Yoinks! Okay. I'll stop this screen sharing now. Thoughts on James Gunn directing new Suicide Squad? I didn't see the first one, so
neither did I. So I don't know. The Blob, the original Blob movie, had a campy sequel titled "Beware the Blob," made in 1972, directed by Larry Hagman. Home video releases used the tagline "The movie that shot JR" in reference to his character's near demise in the television series Dallas. It was remade in 1988, which has already come up, and in 2009 there was talk of another Blob movie being made by Rob Zombie of all people. He wanted to work on a remake, another one, and that fell through. So hey, there's something we can all be grateful for. Another Rob Zombie remake that didn't get made.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember the fun you had with, what was it, Halloween and then Friday the 13th?
Rob Zombie, did they do Friday the 13th? I don't think they did. No, that was Uwe, not Uwe Boll. That was Michael Bay. Michael Bay's Friday the 13th. James Conlon dropped $5 saying, "Creepy, how goes the Xenozoic comic?" And Decker, "How would one buy you a gift? P.O. box?" I don't have a P.O. box set up. I don't give out my addresses. I just assume, like, go to Texas and scream Decker until you find me. That's all I have set up right now. It's not much.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but he's in a remote location, so rather than being scared of you, people will just assume that you're drunk. They still might shoot you, though.
Yeah, it's Texas.
Yeah. I did. By the way, there was to James Conlon. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate that you got me. I did not even know that was based on. I saw the Saturday morning cartoon show Cadillacs. And
Brandon Kilgore says Halloween 2 with Rob Zombie was a much better than the Friday the 13th remake, and then fighting words.
Decker had to review that movie, which he did.
I can find joy in putting the Friday the 13th remake on, just like letting it play and like, hey, is that nice? Look, boobs. Yeah, hey, death. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 with that insufferable bitch of the Angel Myers. Get out of my room! Oh, God. The Evil Dead remake was pretty amazing, says Atlas Rock. In comparison to those two remakes, yeah. I mean, I don't really care for it compared to the original Evil Dead, but if we're comparing remake to remake, Evil Dead remake does have a good amount going for it. Teddy Ruffskin, hey dude, hey Teddy!
Yeah. Hello.
Patricia's 4 minutes late. Teddy, where are you hiding her? Where are you hiding her? And David Witheridge says, "You're in Texas? No wonder you actually know something about firearms when critiquing movies." It's one thing. It's also having, gone and like into a shop and done research on the things and figuring out, hey, if I am here and some guy hopped up on meth is trying to jack my TV, how many shots into which part of his body will end his life? Let's do some ballistics tests and find out. Now, I want to get you as accurate as possible. Bring in the method. Stuff like that. Okay, so we should probably talk about news again. Oh.
Please do.
Speaking of like the Resident Evil remake and all the horror remakes, there is a little bit of going on with after the Resident Evil 2 remake has dropped, we have a little bit of a talking of things with, damn it, I'll just show the damn news. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Capcom is eager to remake Resident Evil 3 if fans demand it. As if you're gonna, it's not even just with the Switch fans now, not even Nintendo fans. Companies asking you to port bake now. Just if you want the game at all, you better. Yeah, you bought the hell out of Resident Evil 2 remake, but you're gonna have to still like beg for this one. And this is a picture of the Resident Evil 1 remake for GameCube, or the re-release of it for 360, PS3, PS4, and Xbox One. Interesting. And that was another thing, as a gamer who has Nintendo systems, knowing that this was originally a Nintendo exclusive, and then it was re-released for every single system and PC except for Nintendo. They don't get it. It's like, you motherfuckers.
I'm always a little bit conflicted by the color scheme that they use in the graphics, because on the one hand, I guess for a old dingy mansion, it does kind of fit, but at the same time, a part of me looks at this and thinks, brown. Everything is brown. Yep, that's brown. That's also brown. Ooh, for a change of pace, here's a different shade of brown. Oh, and the floor is brown.
Yeah, brown. Okay, so way back in the late 90s, as development of Resident Evil 2 dragged on, Capcom also started development on other Resident Evil titles. Supposedly originally intended as a spin-off before series creator Shinji Mikami suggested otherwise known as their contract said otherwise, a partner title to Resident Evil 2 was also being made, starring Jill Valentine in the same city as Leon and Claire, titled Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, even though it was originally just called Resident Evil Nemesis, and Code Veronica was Resident Evil 3, but little contracts get in the way of that. The game was also a supplement to Resident Evil 2, which was released just a year prior, and the two titles are closely tied together in people's minds. When Resident Evil 2's remake was announced, fans speculated that Resident Evil 3 is likely not far behind. It turns out Capcom is thinking similarly too, but is not quite ready to commit. Your money isn't enough. You need to fucking beg. In an interview with Japanese website GameWatch and translated by Gear Nuke, Resident Evil 2 producer Yoshi was asked about the possibility of Resident Evil 3 now that its predecessor has released. Hirabashi explains that they only did Resident Evil 2 because fans had been asking for it for so long. So they need fan permission to do Resident Evil 3. Oh, cool. That's great. Just another couple decades of begging for it. It's a very PR answer, and one that makes me suspect that they have already given the project the go-ahead, but I suppose fan enthusiasm showing them that it's the right decision can't hurt. Otherwise known as the fact that, it's free advertising to have everyone talking about it. Resident Evil 2 is now available on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. You can read our review of the game right here in this hyperlink that I'm not clicking on, haha.
So everybody, go to your computers and your cell phones and metaphorically beat your fists against the floor, screaming about how you demand this game.
Otherwise, they just won't fucking do it. Deal.
Get in touch with your inner 5-year-old at Christmas time.
Okay, current era AAA games such as in Kool-Aid Blue and Urine Yellow. Oof. Okay, when's the movie news? Sci-Fi Action Movie Review says, when's the movie news starting? Because I want to know Decker and Creek's thoughts on the Ghostbusters 3 teaser and the controversy with Leslie Jones. I don't know anything about the controversy with Leslie Jones, and I don't think I saw the teaser.
Yeah, the Leslie Jones thing was, I was like, that kind of flew right over my head, so I'm terribly sorry. As far as Ghostbusters 3, I was like, I remember way back in 08, 09, oh nine when there was talk that Ghostbusters 3 was going to be made. So that was about a decade ago.
Well,
And
they did mention recently that there's going to be a new Ghostbusters movie that's going to follow the original film's timeline and not take place in the universe of the 2016 movie.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what everyone's saying is like Ghostbusters 3, but it's last I heard, Ghostbusters 3, the story that followed the 1 and 2 movies, was the 7th generation Ghostbusters video game.
Right, called Ghostbusters the video game, which is actually has a good story. It does tie the first two movies in together very well. I did like that about it. But, again, it was basically, okay, so that was Ghostbusters 3, basically. And then I'm like, oh, so you're finally going to make another Ghostbusters movie, except that it's going to be the Ghostbusters movie 25, 26 years after the first one. And so what? One of the actors who played a Ghostbuster is dead. Are the other three going to be in wheelchairs? I'm sorry, just like they're in their 60s now. How are you going to do this?
I'm confused. Okay, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with invites. So, Creepy, talk for the chat for a little bit while I do this.
And I mean, and yeah, this sounds pretty harsh of me to say, but I guess the reason I'm so hard on it is because, well, they've been promising Ghostbusters 3 is something that they've been promising since the early 90s. It's like, hey, we're gonna make Ghostbusters 3. Great. When? We'll get back to you on that. And then, I even heard that the Extreme Ghostbusters animated series it came out like it was going to be a continuation of the Ghost, but it was going to be basically a tie-in because they were talking about making a new live-action Ghostbusters movie, and that fell through. But they decided to go ahead and make the animated series anyway. So that fell through in the early 2000s. They were talking about Ghostbusters 3. In 2009, they were talking about Ghostbusters 3. And then the game came out, and then the 2016 movie came out, and now I'm just like, whatever, just whatever. It's not worth it anymore. But I don't know. I mean, it feels like just about the only thing that they could do with this idea now is to bring the three actors who, are still alive back, and then have them train a new group of Ghostbusters to carry on for them.
I think that is what was said is going to be the focus of Ghostbusters 3. I'm not sure. I think that is one thing that's kind of tooled around with. But also, people said that's what they should have done in 2016.
Yeah.
Jack Brand dropped $5 saying the only sequel I want to see is from the Urban Cowboy franchise. Travolta needs another career comeback. John Travolta on screen.
What a concept.
We can get more gifs and more memes out of it. I approve.
And more Scientology endorsements.
That's just more meme fuel. Let's be honest.
That's true. But although I did enjoy the movie Phenomenon, it was actually kind of good, I will say. But actually, yeah, I agree. I think I said this in a Live and Wire chat before when we were talking about the 20.
Jason X9000 says Ghostbusters, like a lot of movies, is a lightning in a bottle. The real why Ghostbusters 3 won't work is both Ghostbusters 2 and the late 90s film Evolution.
Which was basically Ghostbusters with aliens. But it even had its own animated spin-off that lasted, I think, like one season on Fox Kids. But like when we talked about the 2016 movie, and I said that one thing that bugged me about it in conception was that they didn't even need to set it as an alternate universe or a reboot or a different continuity or anything like that. They could have just done that from the get-go. Like, have the old Ghostbuster, have this take place in a different town with a different group of Ghostbusters who are all women, and have them start and buy into the Ghostbusters franchise. Like, they can start their own ghost hunting service, and then at the end of the movie, one of the original four shows up. Preferably the one that's still one of the ones that's still alive, just so we don't
don't CGI a dead man back into existence again, please.
And then, have them say, hey, we actually represent a company that, does this professionally, and we're looking to franchise. So and they're like, okay, we'll buy into the franchise, and then we'll have a licensing name above us, and that's how it'll go. And I just, I didn't hate the 2016 movie. I didn't think it was great, but it wasn't the shitstorm that everyone kept telling me it was. But at the same time, I kept asking myself, why did you not do this? Because this was so simple, and I just kind of felt like someone needed to be smacked for that. Also, Dr. Doom, probably Ernie Hudson would be the one to return, and I would have been A-okay with that.
Having a lot of difficulty getting Patricia to join the call. Something with her phone is not really working so nicely right now. Very odd.
Actually, Jack Brand says, why does every Ghostbusters movie have to take place in New York? Why not Chicago or San Francisco? I would love to see an X-Men. Whoa, where did that come from? I would love to.
It's just like, fuck Ghostbusters. Where's my X-Men?
Yeah, I would love. It's like I channeled Chibi Thulu for a minute there. I would love to see an X-Men. I did it again! Stay out of my head. Stay out of my head. You, sit over here. I would love to see a Ghostbusters movie or series that took place in San Francisco. San Francisco has a long, rich history. It has a lot of culture. It has a lot of supernatural that you can build on and do stuff with. So it would be really good. It or Chicago, it would be really good setting for a Ghostbusters movie.
Scott Duncan says Japanese Ghostbuster, and I'm thinking, well, I'm thinking like Japanese Spider-Man, but then I'm thinking, wait a minute, but in Ghostbusters 2, they used the Statue of Liberty like a giant mech doing some battle above the sea. It's like, what is the Japanese Ghostbusters going to add?
I never did take you to the place where they have the giant replica of the original Gundam robot, did I?
Oh, no. We just went like to the bottom of Tokyo Tower, and I'm like, that's Tokyo Tower, and then we just left.
Well, it was raining, and I was sick with a cold.
Yeah. Fun times!
But just cover the Gundam statue with a psychomagnetheric slime and then start playing the theme song.
Nice.
You're staring intently at something, and
I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
You like freeze up, and then you start glaring, and I'm just like, I feel like that rapid heartbeat sound effects that's in action movies should start happening right now.
It's just my anger issues. You see, with me, it's very simple. If a machine doesn't do what it is specifically designed to do, I get really pissed off. So I'm like, okay, this live streaming video chat application that literally has no other purpose than to do this one task is failing at it. We are not able to get Patricia on here. And I'm like, the fuck you mean? Not to Patricia, but to Google Hangouts.
So it's going to be one of those nights, in other words.
I'm afraid so.
I blame you for this.
It's none of my fault, sis. I just do the thing with the live and the Wyatt.
Anyway, next topic. Oh, by the way, how are the polls doing? Are we like
We got 1 minute left on the first poll,
okay?
so it's going to take a little bit of time to finish that and then tally up. For some reason, it takes it a couple minutes to say, okay, were these all these 56 votes? Was that it? I got to make sure I got this exactly.
Okay.
Yes. What else? Please. Okay.
No one of importance said, "Oh God, you two are unsupervised again."
So, Creepy, what would you like to talk about? The Chucky TV series?
No, never.
A third live-action Pokemon movie developed by Legendary?
I know there's a third option, so.
The DeLorean is getting ready for a comeback back in the near future.
Let's go with that one.
All right, see. Now let me share.
Shado is about to get the anal probe treatment again.
And there it is. Big old car, yeah.
Maverick car manufacturer John DeLorean died in 2005. The DeLorean Motor Company lives! Though he would go on to face public ridicule and legal issues, DeLorean was one of the original industry disruptors, an innovator who went up against giant corporations in an effort to present something new. In DeLorean's case, it was the car that bore his name. With gull wing doors and a stainless steel cases, the introduction of the DeLorean DMC-12 in 1982 was supposed to be a seismic shift in the automobile business. Instead, production issues forced his company into bankruptcy. The car would have likely been a footnote of the 20th century, if not for 1985's Back to the Future, which embedded it in popular culture. Suddenly, the DeLorean was no longer a running joke. It was as beloved and as identifiable as the Batmobile. Although the movie did have a lot of fun taking pot shots at the DeLorean, such as it not starting when it was supposed to.
Well, that's just like every movie.
Yeah, I mean, except this time it was actually in a car that was notorious for not turning over. So,
okay.
Yeah. Like, so when it died right at the climax, and Marty is like cursing and trying to get it started, that actually happened with people.
Okay, I'm confused. Nicole's saying, "Come on, please," and I'm like, "Oh crap! They've been saying something for a long time, and I have missed it."
So sorry about that. Yeah. Although I don't know how many people in their DeLoreans were trying to drive it towards a lightning bolt so that it could be electrocuted. So, I mean, you're going to have to find out for yourself as far as that. Maybe do another Twitter poll.
Don't try this at home.
Don't try this at home. We're professionals, or at the very least actors, and we get paid for it. For the past 30-odd years, collectors have traded parts and kept a small fleet of cars in circulation. That aftermarket may soon become something more contemporary. In a recent Popular Mechanics profile, I don't know what's in the recent Popular Mechanics profile, thank you. Entrepreneur Stephen I'm going to go with Wynn, claims to have set his sights on ramping up production of the vehicle. Instead of buying a used model, DeLorean enthusiasts will be able to purchase one fresh off the assembly line.
I know my next car.
I was about to say, this is going to be your car, isn't it, Declan? This is going to be what you buy. This is going to be your next car. Wynn originally came to the U.S. from Liverpool in the 1980s and worked as a car mechanic. Being familiar with foreign car market manufacturing gave him a leg up on DeLorean repairs, as the car parts were frequently sourced by English and French suppliers. In 1997, he decided to acquire DeLorean's entire inventory of parts, schematics, and other proprietary information. The parts were sold to car owners. Later, Wynn began pursuing the idea of building new DeLoreans. He had enough material for 350 to 400 cars and a plan to swap out the limited number of original 130 horsepower engines with a modern 300 to 400 horsepower engine.
Yeah.
Say what?
Yeah. I'm just making a noise that signifies I'm happy with this.
Oh, okay. It came through kind of garbled, so I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. Also, I can't see her face right now, so that's not helping either. I never thought I'd say that. The idea was fueled in part by a congressional act called FAST, an acronym for Fixing America's Surface Transportation. Boy, you gotta love Congress and their acronyms.
How much money is spent on figuring out new acronyms?
Is there a department for this? I'm sure there's a department for this. Fast in 2015, it allows for small runs of replicas to be produced and sold without being subject to current car safety standards. So the cars that were more dangerous, even when they were out, like years ago before new laws were passed, are being put out onto the road without meeting factory standards today, which means they're even more dangerous than when they were dangerous.
Oh, yay. Well, I don't have a rear view mirror, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much.
So is this Congress's way of trying to cause more car accidents without flat out saying that that's what they're trying to do? Because I feel like that's what they're trying to say right now. It was an ideal solution for when, I guess it has to be for someone, with one exception. The FAST Act requires input from the Department of Transportation on specific regulatory details, and the DOT has yet to issue it. As soon as he's legally able, Wynn plans on producing 22 cars the first year and then ramp up production. The vehicles will likely carry a price tag of around $100,000. Decker, if you have $100,000 and you spend it on a DeLorean, I am walking to Texas so I can kick your ass.
Aww.
Is it a viable business plan? Wynn thinks so. The waiting list of people expressing intent to buy a new DeLorean is in excess of 5,000. Not surprised there. In fact, that seems like a conservative number.
So that's like $500 million of coming in. So how much does it cost to build 5,000 new DeLoreans? If it's less than $500 million, he's good.
I mean, like 10 of these things at the price of $100,000 would be $1 million. So,
also, the polls have concluded, or at least one has.
Awesome.
Let's see. Live and Wired poll number 1. What do you wish they scrapped and restarted halfway through production? We have a tie!
Woo!
At 62 votes, 32 went to both The Predator, yes, the one that I have been saying forever, and to Fallout 76. And oh well. But at a close third place, at 29%, Alien Covenant. And that means way, way in the back at a low 7%, Live and Wired. Who knew people who actually take the time to sit and watch Live and Wired for 30 episodes might enjoy it. I learned something new every single day.
Hey, like you, they went to see Predator, so...
And Joshua Strittmatter says, makes another suggestion, The Walking Dead, A New Frontier. Just hit the big reset button on that halfway through. Don't put that out. Just try something else. And now, Creepy's Live and Wired poll is also completed with 64 votes. Number 1 at a pretty distinct lead. 38% of the vote goes to Asteroids for what video game can be improved by being remade into a first-person shooter. At number 2, at 28%, we get Pac-Man. 22% goes to number 3, Pitfall. And a respectable 12% for last place, Breath of Fire. And Spartan Flash, that sometimes Sentries, with I don't know. He says, however, Pitfall would need to be a VR title styled like Mirror's Edge. Now that would be pretty damn interesting, in my opinion. A VR Pitfall like Mirror's Edge, where it's like, just keep going, grab things, swing on them, get above the crocodiles and stuff. If you fall from this tree branch, you're down into the tar pits and you're dead. Things like that. In virtual reality. Where it's just, everything's right in your face. You're going to know what it feels like to be eaten by a crocodile.
Yeah.
Or an alligator.
Or sit on a rock cross-legged and try to levitate, which was a feature that was added in Pitfall. It was the SNES version. It was
the Mayan Adventures.
The Mayan Adventures. Thank you. Yeah.
Michael Wolf asks, wasn't there a 32X game that was basically a first-person asteroids? It was asteroids, but it wasn't first-person. You had a third-person view behind your ship that rotated around and shot at the rocks that broke into smaller rocks. It was 3D asteroids, but it wasn't first-person.
Mm-hmm.
Tax Audit Simulator, says Corey 2000.
That's kind of horrifying.
Oh, God. Scott Duncan says new version of Custer's Revenge. Oh, no. No.
New version of Custer's Revenge, the porno game.
Duke Nukem 3D. Yeah, that was a game that was traditionally a 2D side scroller. That was the first one that was in 3D. It was the third game. It was like Duke Nukem Forever was supposed to be like 4 ever because it was the 4th game in the series. But they then changed it to Forever, and then it didn't come out. And then it did come out, and everyone hated it. Daikatana. Is that something that should be... I mean, that's a first-person game already, but is that something that should have just been redone halfway through? Are we on that one as well? We mixing these together?
I've been trying to get Decker to play Daikatana for a long time now. Like pretty much ever since he started his gaming channel, I have been telling him to do Daikatana.
It's not my fault. The game just doesn't run on its own.
You know, they put it on Steam for a long time ago, and it runs fine. That version of it runs fine. They apparently fix some things in post.
Pepsi Man HD remaster. Oh, I would love that. I want to get the Sega Sanshiro game for the Saturn from Japan. Where you actually get to control Sega Sanshiro as he beats an Olympic skater on his bare feet on the ice. Like, Sega Sanshiro! Okay. Dookie Noodum, a Wood Rocket parody. Oh, God.
I'm disappointed that a Sega Sanshiro game does not involve you beating up small children who aren't playing Sega.
Just show up, find the kids that aren't playing Sega games, and then
beat
the shit out of them until they do.
Yes.
And we got a suggestion for this particular news article from Epic Jason X9000. It says, speaking of video games, here's a news article for one of you to read, if you will allow. We have this here. Let me just screen share. Padoom. American McGee has stepped up work on Alice 3. American McGee's Alice fans have had a hard lot. Despite the demand for a sequel, EA hasn't really considered completing the trilogy after 2011's Alice Madness Returns, which is a pretty fun game. I didn't play all that much of the original American McGee's Alice, but I did play quite a bit of Alice Madness Returns. It's American McGee's Alice. It's a hell of a lot more polished than the first one. Then again, it was for a whole other generation, I believe. American McGee has talked over the years of making a third game, and in 2017 he was working sporadically on a sequel entitled Alice Asylum. And now on his blog, McGee states that he intends to step up work in earnest. American is hard at work on design, art, and story for the next chapter in Alice Adventures, states the host. Alice Asylum will present the story before American McGee's Alice, with a young Alice fighting through the trauma of losing her family. McGee has also mused on Facebook about opening a new development studio in Thailand to work on the game. Of course, this is still all up to EA to make the final call regarding the game. To that end, McGee says that if you, the fans, can do one of 4 things to bend EA's ear: sign a mailing list to show your support for the game to EA, follow American on his social media accounts for suggestions and direct feedback, support him on the game's Patreon page with his posts, concept art, and designs for the game, and finally, you can purchase items such as t-shirts and art prints from his online shop. So the last 2 are given money. Got it. Again, no guarantees given the EA after all, but the idea of returning to the world of Alice once again certainly deserves attention.
Did anyone understand the bulk of that, especially that last paragraph? Because mostly what I heard was something that sounded like the Micro Machine guy with his tongue tied.
He said, "Hey, we'd like to make American McGee's Alice 3 effectively, but EA, they are not so sure about it, so do some stuff. Like, you can, like, talk to EA directly. Be like, hey, make it. You can follow American McGee's social networks and share his stuff like, hey, it's a nice idea. We should make it. Or you could give American McGee money, or you can buy his stuff."
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure the last two will help American McGee out. I'm just not sure if it's going to help American McGee make Alice 3. But, yeah.
Dark Necrosis said earlier, Skate or Die remake, and I remember the Skate or Die game.
Oh, God, if Skate or Die was remade in first person, the part where you go through the chain link fence and turn into cubes of meat. That happened to me a lot. Damn that downhill jam.
Right. And then you had Skate or Die 2, The Search for Double Trouble, which was like you had to, like, the backstory of it was kind of hilarious. Like, the mayor's wife and Poodle was hit by a skateboarder, so the mayor outlaws skating, and you basically have to raise money while on a skateboard so that you could build your own you're basically your own skateboard ramp that they can't tear down.
Okay, there's one more piece of video game news that I showed to Patricia, but she never brought a article about it back to me, so I don't know if she wanted to talk about it, but I wanted to talk about it.
Go ahead and talk about it.
It's kind of hard to show what I had, though, because it was a trailer, and we can't really show the trailer without inviting the copyright bots to say, hey, you don't own that. So I'm like, but we're talking about it. It's like, no. EDF Iron Rain has had a release date slated for the West. It also just so happens to be exactly the same release date that was slated for the East 3 weeks prior.
So we're getting it on the same day that Japan is getting it, or we're getting it 3 weeks later?
We're getting it on the same day Japan is getting it, but Japan said they were getting it on that day 3 weeks before they said that we were getting it on that day.
Oh.
The release date was announced for Japan, and then 3 weeks later they announced the release date for America, and it's the same day.
So they're either feeling terribly charitable, or they moved the release date for Japan up. Either way, we're still getting a release date for EDF Iron Rain.
Yeah, so. It's April 11th, worldwide. Now, EDF Iron Rain was always meant to be a worldwide release because it's a spin-off of the Earth Defense Force series, which EDF 5 came out in Japan in 2017, and in America in 2018, so like a whole, not just, it's a little bit later. It's like, no, it came out December 2017 in Japan and December 2018 in America. They waited a whole damn year on it. But before that, there was actually Iron Rain slated to release mid to early 2018, and it got delayed into 2019. But the Iron Rain release was always supposed to be a worldwide simultaneous release. So it's coming out in Japan like a year and a half after their previous EDF game, and in America it's coming out a few months after our previous EDF game. So yeah.
Hey. I mean, I have played EDF 5 with Decker, and it's actually pretty fun. I mean, basically it's just you go around, you blow up big bugs. So that's it. And giant frog monster that look just like humans.
It's the resemblances. Unbelievable. They have mouths, too. It looks like they're talking.
Yeah. So, so, like, we've had some fun going around shooting aliens before. I have to say that's fun. We should do that again. What are you doing tomorrow, Decker?
Oh, let me think. Tomorrow's Sunday. I still have a while to go on the script, but it's coming along nicely. And, I've got some things going on the gaming channel that have nothing to do with video games, so I should get some video games on there.
Maybe tomorrow.
As right now, I've been reading an early draft script of The Predator, and I've recorded many parts of that, and they are slated to release on the gaming channel, because if I release them on the main channel, after about 3 of them, it'll completely trash my algorithms. So I learned my lesson after Aliens, Colonial Marines. I know how not to screw myself again. That's why I have the gaming channel.
So anyway, maybe Decker and I will play EDF 5 again. And we've gotten to the point where there are wasps, bees, bee wasps, whatever.
They were titled Flying Aggressors. They are monsters that shoot darts.
Mm-hmm.
Not wasp stingers. They are monsters who are flying aggressors, and they shoot darts at you.
So, anyway.
Oh boy. Okay, so let's see what else. Oh yeah, that's some sad news. Sad news. Creepy, what do you think about Star Wars?
I was a huge Star Wars nerd back in high school. It was one of the things that made me and my best friend met in French class, and we became one of the things we bonded over was Star Wars. So yeah, I mean, I kind of fell out of it after a while. Coincidentally enough, in the 2000s, when some certain movies came along, but I actually, yeah, I still have some fondness for it.
Well, there's a little thing that just so happened to be being made until it wasn't.
Cancelled. Star Wars game would have been like Uncharted, says Rogue One writer. So it would have taken place on an island?
Possibly. It was supposed to be open world, I believe. Oh, there's some very nice little pillows they have right there.
Yes, very true. The most popular, and rightly so, opinion people seem to have about EA in recent days is that they've managed their Star Wars exclusive license terribly. What is a license that most, if not all other publishers would kill to have is something that has seen EA release games that have disappointed while canceling those that looked promising. Recently, it was revealed that the open-world single-player Star Wars title that had been in development at EA Vancouver, man, that's a run-on sentence, had been canceled, and that is something that hasn't gone down well with a great number of people. That includes Gary Whitta, a co-writer of the 2016 film Rogue One, a Star Wars story as well. I remember going to see that movie in theaters. Recently, on the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show, which you can view below, which we won't, Whitta spoke about the game's cancellation and gave his own 2 cents on the matter, and he clearly wasn't happy about the news. He mentioned that he had seen a lot of the game in action himself and that it looked terrific, also saying that EA have mismanaged the Star Wars license catastrophically. It has been catastrophically mismanaged.
I love when it's like, he said this, and then there's the quote of exactly
and then
that.
there's the quote right below it, which I can't do. If I were Disney, I would be blanking furious. We will just assume that he said petting right there. I saw a bunch of that game, and it looked terrific. There's that other word that he said. It would have been Star Wars Uncharted. Again, Star Wars on an island. Okay. Given the track record that EA has had with Star Wars over the last few years, from the disastrous manner in which they screwed up Star Wars Battlefront 2 to these cancellations, it's no surprise to see people reacting this way. EA, however, has clarified that it remains committed, air quotes, to making Star Wars games. In fact, the open-world Star Wars game was reportedly canceled so that resources could be shifted to another Star Wars project that was smaller in scope. Meanwhile, Respawn's Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is due out later this year.
Okay, that be that. So, yeah. Darth Necrosis says, EA, because fuck you, that's why.
I was going to say, basically, EA screwed up again. No one is surprised. Dull surprise on everyone's faces.
Chris Field says, Ocean Beach in loincloth on knees, pounding the sand. Damn you, EA! You did it! You really did it! Damn you! Damn you all to hell! Oh, boy. And Fury161 says, warning, an open-world Star Wars prototype doesn't make it a good game by definition. And yeah, that is true. It could have been a pretty crap game they just got rid of. But of course, there is still like the idea of freely exploring a Star Wars kind of setting does have appeal to it. Then again, Star Wars Galaxies kind of tried that, and not too many people really liked it. It took a while for things to really start to develop. The whole thing was very player-driven. So you had to have the players build the economy. You had to have the players build different settlements around the whole fucking map. Otherwise, the map was pretty much empty. So right when you started, everyone was starting out on this, here's the world of Star Wars, and it's all empty. So it was a very bad first impression.
I also remember someone complaining that Star Wars Galaxy was very one-sided. So many people wanted to play
God.
a Jedi, wanted to be a part of the rebellion, and almost nobody was playing on the Empire side. So the Empire ended up being the rebellion, and the rebellion ended up being the Empire.
Yeah, and even worse, it's like the developers didn't care and were pretty much also of that mindset of, no, rebellion's the good guys, fuck you. And it's like there was this event that had 3 stages, and it was supposed to be a thing that went on for a while. I participated in it, and I came back a few years later. I'm like, hey, did they have any other events? Like, no, that was the only one that ever happened. I'm like, oh, really? Because yeah, they really fucked it up. It was this thing. There was supposed to be the players facing off against each other for some sort of changing of how the story of Star Wars Galaxies will go from here on out. And depending on who's doing what, other people will have certain advantages and have to deal with certain things. And the first stage of this mass quest was like finding some items, maybe. They didn't tell you how you're supposed to do it, what you were supposed to get, where you're supposed to bring it, why. It was like, it had a little comic and a very poor explanation as to what the hell the actual quest was. And then by the end of that time, they were like, Rebels won! It's like, won what? What the hell were we doing?
And then there's just the fact that, okay, the Rebels outnumbered the Empire by like let's say 20-1. So if not more than, or if not 50-1. So yeah, if the Rebels had lost, it would have seemed kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Or the system was rigged.
Yeah. But then the second part they had where they said, okay, this is how it's done. These are the things you do. And everyone's like, okay, we understand what the quest is. We're going forward. We're going to do this. And playing through it. And then by the end of it, Rebels won. And it's like, how? What happened? I didn't see too. I mean, there's like a shitload of them. There's like 10 Imperials on this server and 500 Rebels. Mm-hmm. What's going on? And they're like, okay. We heard. We swear that we did scale it to population size, so it's not really an advantage just because there's more Rebels. We're going to have the third stage here. Third stage, you have to do these quests to get this item, the hand in here. Mm-hmm. These quests, this item, hand in here, and we are not going to give an unfair advantage to someone just because they have a higher population. It will be adjusted for population size. Mm-hmm. Okay, go have fun. And then the time comes for that little piece of quest to end. And it doesn't. It keeps going. And then it keeps going for about twice as long as it usually would. And then the devs come out and say, hey, Rebels, the Imperials are ahead. You might want to, take out the stops and do something. And then, 5 days later, they're like, Rebels won. It's like, what the fuck was that?
Anyway. I feel like if they were, I can kind of see the mindset of making a game where it's Empire versus Rebels, but I feel like because of the sheer popularity of the Rebel Alliance versus the Empire, not for reasons that are not understandable, considering that the Empire was kind of an analogy for something that happened in real life, like to a certain extent anyway. So
Yeah, that's kind
maybe
of the
there's a
thing.
reason why some people were a little uncomfortable with playing space Nazis. And I mean, and this is without adding space Nazi ducks into the equation. So, you know.
I like the space Nazi dominatrixes.
Yeah, I remember, Decker. You've mentioned that every time.
Yes.
But for those of you who don't know, Decker and I are talking about Toku Hero Rift Tracks, where we review very old tokusatsu hero programs from Japan. And we are currently reviewing the live-action tokusatsu Spider-Man series from Japan on my Patreon page. So go check that out. And but anyway, like. As far as like you picking like Rebel or Empire, I feel like that idea works better in not in a MMORPG environment, but in a console game. Like
I remember like one of the old Republic games, I think it was, where I tried playing like a dark side guy. But if you're going to be on the dark side, they're like, no fucking around. You have to be the biggest douche in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, can you help me with this problem? It's like, what? No, I'm not going to help you, and I'm going to kill you for asking me. Any less than that, and it's like, sorry, you got light side points.
All right.
You listened to their problem. I mean, you're not helping them, but you listened, and that's also really important. Light side. Right. It's like, God damn it.
So, like...
how much work to be evil?
Right. Decker has to work at being evil. I'll figure. But I feel like the idea still works better in a console game, a one-player console game, than in an MMO, because in an MMO, everybody wants to be a Jedi and everybody wants to be a part of the Rebel Alliance. So you're definitely, as Galaxies prove, there's definitely going to be some one-sidedness there. So
it's kind of like trying to be evil in the original Fable, where I'm just trying to get from point A to point B, and there happens to be a Balverine fucking goddamn werewolf in the way who's going to try to kill me. So I'm like, okay, I'll kill him. And then motherfucker comes out from behind the bushes like, oh, you saved my life. I'm like, I didn't give a shit about you. I'm just trying to go to the next town to steal their shit. And then it's like, you're getting good points. I'm like, no good points. What do I do? Okay. Boy! Well, that's uncalled for. And then I get my evil points.
Decker is bad at being evil.
You gotta really commit to evil in a lot of these games, because it just says, no, you're good. Whatever you do, you're good. Like, no, I'm evil, damn it.
I don't know. Remember like the early Ultima games where like if you where like, you know, you went to the shopkeeper who was blind, and then if you could like clear out his entire inventory for just some small change, and then when you exited the shop, the game would tell you, you have lost virtue.
Oh, boy.
The Ultimate games were all about maintaining, like getting and maintaining high virtues. So like
but we should probably talk about a movie at some point.
I guess we can.
Whoa, hello, what the hell is this?
I don't know. I can't see.
Well, you will as soon as I learn how to click. What the? Some sound played. What the? What's going? No, I don't. What? Gee, no, go away. No, go. Fine, I'll accept your damn cookies. Okay. God damn it! Get your ad out of my face.
Somebody wants Decker to have their cookies.
What the hell? Yeah, no. Yeah, get that. Yeah, no. Ooh. Okay, so
minor plumbing problem. There were stones in that pipe. Did anyone else see that? There were actual very large rocks in that pipe. What are you doing in your sink that led to this?
I don't know. But anyway, RoboCop screenwriter talks upcoming sequel. Yay.
So who takes this one? I feel like this is more yours than mine, but you've read like at least one or two of them so far in a row.
I can take this. I'm good. RoboCop screenwriter talks about the upcoming sequel. Many would argue that there hasn't been a good RoboCop movie since the original film in 1987. But that hasn't stopped MGM from trying to recapture the magic of the first movie. MGM continued its valiant efforts to resurrect the franchise like Valiant. It's called wanting to get paid. When it announced that a new sequel, RoboCop Returns, is in development. Neil Blomkamp is directing the film based on a script by the original RoboCop writers Ed Neumeyer and Michael Miner. Neumeyer. Okay. While speaking with HN Entertainment, Neumeyer explained what fans can expect when they return to the futuristic hellscape of Detroit. Neumeyer and Miner cooked up the sequel's premise when they were still attached to write RoboCop 2. The 1988 writer's strike derailed their efforts, but upon learning about their draft, Blomkamp jumped at the chance to helm his dream project. Neumeyer, okay, also revealed that Blomkamp wants to retain the feel of Verhoeven's film. Okay, and screenwriter just now done a pass on the script we were writing on, and they're doing another one. Says Neumeyer this time. It's a slightly different concept in some ways than we were originally doing. I don't want to talk too much about it, but we're hopeful. And I think Neil really wants to make a good RoboCop movie, but proofreading is hard. His idea is that it should be the proper Verhoeven if Verhoeven had directed a movie right after RoboCop. I think that's what he's trying to achieve, and I hope he does. We'll see what happens next. Neumeyer also dropped hints about the augmented humans who might serve as the film's villains. But most importantly, he expressed the filmmaker's desire for Peter Weller to return to the series. Yes, please. As you know from the press, that Neil Blomkamp wants to bring back Peter Weller back. And proofread a brief.
He wants to bring back Peter Weller back?
Proofread your article, please. This is so good. And what you get when you do that, if you use the DNA of the old property in the new, is that you get something that shares continuity and fans can embrace the brand. Observe Neumeyer. It's not too difficult. And what you realize is when I was sitting and writing 30 years later, rewriting the second draft of our sequel to RoboCop, which was called The Corporate Wars at the time and is now called RoboCop Returns, added Neumeyer, I kept hearing Peter's voice. You know, Peter adds a lot to that. What do you make of Neumeyer's latest remarks about the RoboCop Returns? Tell us what you think in the comments section below. No, I won't. Okay. Whew.
So, what do you think about all this, Decker, considering that you spent December reviewing RoboCop over and over?
I like the idea of people, but the thing is, every time someone makes a sequel, to some extent, they are trying to continue what they already have there. So hearing someone is like, we're trying to do it like the original director would. We're trying to do something with the original actor like we wanted to previously, a continuation that is more similar to the original. Everyone always tries that. That's the problem isn't that they aren't trying that, it's that they aren't succeeding. So it's still yet to find out if they're going to succeed this time. Also, we got a $5 super chat from Nicholas Walker. You guys heard about the stories of Vic Mignogna being both a creep and an a-hole at comic conventions? I am not sure who Vic is. Though creeps and a-holes at comic conventions, that is easy to believe.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me... I'm doing a little web search real quick. So sorry for the close-up. Vic... I keep typing C and B-I-C. See, I can spell.
Let's see. New RoboCop film, oh shit, run, Murphy, run. No Warwick, no Leprechaun, enough said. I am. That too. Whew. Who was the one who wound up in a toxic waste vat? Oh, I can't remember the name of the actor or the
Toxic Crusader.
Well, I was thinking of in RoboCop.
Okay. I did find an article on what he just pointed out. I don't know if we want to do this or not. Decker?
Well, we got like 30 minutes until the 2-hour mark, which is where my fiance likes me to stop. Every time we're past 2 hours, she's like, she misses me. She likes me in there with her, working on my surface, sitting next to her. My fiance likes me. Much more than you, Creepy. Based on that little grimace there. Where's Tara? She is in the corner by the wall, sleeping on the giant plush doggy. It's kind of smushed in between the bed and the wall. The rabbit on the TV behind you has glowing eyes. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my fiance's little living dead dolls, I believe it's called.
Mm. Also, for your entertainment, Decker Butt.
They're very, very simple little, soft little, cutesy little nightmare fuel.
Mm-hmm.
She had this long before I met her. So, that's one of the things, like, she's already into horror and stuff. She was the one who suggested that I review the voices.
So she was prepared for what she was getting into.
Oh boy.
Did you see the title of the article?
Yes, briefly.
Brawley voice actor responds to sexual harassment and homophobic claims. Well, lots of allegations began to surface recently. Some go back as far as 2010. Anime dub voice actor Vic Mignona, I guess, best known for his work on Full Metal Alchemist, is facing serious claims of sexual harassment and homophobia. He released a statement earlier this week on Twitter responding to accusations of misconduct that started to surface on social media after the premiere of Dragon Ball Super Broly, in which he voices the title character. In the statement, Mignona refutes the homophobic allegations outright, stating that some of his dear friends are members of the LGBT. Okay. The thing you don't say when you are confronted with these allegations, okay? That's like sending a signal flare up that says, "Yeah, I'm guilty." Why would you? Okay, so apparently this guy is guilty and is like wanting people to know that without actually stating it.
In the chat, Lizard's Review says, it's Decker's fiance who has cerebral palsy, right? Just wondering, no offense intended, none taking. And yes, my fiance has cerebral palsy.
Mm-hmm.
And Rusted Cake says, Decker lied. It was the voices that told him to review his fiance.
Anyway, while several fans alleged online that he refused to sign yaoi fan art, often romantic images featuring two male characters, he suggested that he did not want to sign non-canon material in general. He also disputes a serious claim about his supposed anti-Semitic behavior, arguing that a joke he made about the Holocaust was just a poor choice of words. Do you think?
Well, I mean, you could say anything you say is just a poor choice of words. You say things with words, and the words you choose equal what you said. But
Pretty
it's
much.
like refused a bunch of. Let's say what it would say that he didn't sign art that was showing characters in homosexual acts. Does he sign art of general sexual things? I mean, hi. Yes, creepy. Yes, that's a yellow dollar sign right there.
Someone pointed me to a moment years ago when I was in a panel and referred to a bunch of noise coming from another room, jokingly as a Holocaust, he said. As I said then, it was a metaphor. Could I have chosen a different word? Sure. In retrospect, I could have. And of course, I'm sorry that it offended anyone. Finally, he apologized for making fans uncomfortable with physical contact, including unsolicited hugs and kisses. This was among the most common type of allegation that surfaced on Twitter earlier this month when Brawley hit theaters. Never in a million years would be my intent to make anyone feel uncomfortable, he said. Rather, hugging fans was meant to show gratitude or support. I come from an affectionately expressive family where displays are commonplace, but I understand that not everyone feels this way. Mignona said he will stop his interactions with fans as a result. His full statement can be found below. Many convention goers' stories continue to come out on social media, detailing times when the actor acted flirtatiously towards them, fondling, kissing, groping, etc., without their consent.
Groping is something that you can't really say, well, my family just likes to grope each other. It's just a way of saying hi.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, how's it going? Let me tickle your testes.
Most while they were still underage. While these allegations are only just picking up, many of them go back as far as 2010. So they've been going on for almost a decade, and they're only just now getting noticed. In addition to the sexual harassment claims, Mignona's alleged homophobic behavior remains a concern with anime fans. While he said that he refused to sign fan art in general, convention goers argue that he would only deny signing pictures depicting characters in gay relationships, even if the art wasn't sexually explicit, while he was happy signing other fans' art. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, that is questionable, but it's like I'm trying to play devil's advocate as best I can. And I'm still like, okay, what's entirely what's going on? Because I wasn't there, I didn't see anything. And of course, it doesn't sound very good, but there are ways to word things that are, in a sense, to sound a lot worse than they are. But then, that's sort of the question I had, is like, does he sign generally sexually explicit things otherwise? Like, if it's two characters with sexually provocative poses that is not homosexual, is he fine with signing that?
Right.
So, I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out. There's not quite as much information as I would like.
I know, this article is being kind of vague. It's almost like it's going as far as it can to not say anything.
Yeah.
I sense some tiptoeing around the issue, but where was I? Organizers at conventions, meanwhile, shared stories of unprofessional behavior, such as overstaying his panel time and yelling at staffers. Okay. As more stories surfaced, the hashtag #KickVic started to circulate on Twitter. Leaked screenshots reveal that Mignona took to the Discord for his private fan club, the Resemble Rangers. Okay. Last Saturday, to encourage his fans to counter the accusations, the hashtag #IStandWithVic rose in response, though not as catchy. When Polygon reached out to Funimation, which distributes Dragon Ball Super Broly, and used to license Full Metal Alchemist, the company declined to comment on the allegations, as they do.
Epic Jason X9000 says, I honestly think this article is slightly full of shit.
Mm-hmm. It does. I mean, like, I'm not really sure. I mean, like, if these allegations have any weight to them, then this isn't cool. But it does feel kind of vague. I do get the sense that there's just that underlying feeling of not telling you everything.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I do not approve of what is described, but what is described is also very much lacking in full context. But that whole, some of my best friends are gay. It's like, that is just, no. Yeah. That is not the way to defend yourself.
No, it isn't.
That is the, I can't be racist, I have black friends. That's it. No one accepts that. That is not. So, Eddie from Space says, am I late? About an hour and 40. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just a bit.
So you've still got over an hour of this.
Unless my fiance has anything to say about it.
Right.
Fortunately, talking is a little difficult for her.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like, I'd love to be able to comment on this more, but unfortunately, yeah, I have this feeling that it's like the article was going out of its way to not give information on either side, so I'm just kind of like, there's the article. That's what it said. Moving on for right now.
Okay, Corey 2000 says, am I a bad person when I hear homophobia and think arachnophobia, but with gay people? Now, I'm just thinking of Arachnophobia remade as the movie Homophobia, where just a bunch of...
I hate to say it, but that is where my brain went to. So, like, basically, a gay person from South America is loose in the pipes of a town and is now gayness throughout the town.
Finds himself just, like, he ends up in a southern U.S. town. Right. And everyone is terrified. Of the
and then there's like this point where a gay guy comes crawling out of the sink and while a woman's in the shower and she just screams hysterically.
Who's feeling fabulous?
And I mean, on the one hand, yeah, there's a guy in the shower, but on the other hand, he's gay. I think you're actually not in as much danger compared to your husband.
Oh God.
Yeah, so this is a terrible, terrible idea. No one make this movie, but at the same time, that's where my brain went when I saw that.
So, on the topic of things that are absolutely terrifying and will scare you the pants off of you. Shaboom! These damn ads. Yes, I accept your fucking cookies. Go away with your I don't like. Okay, fine.
No, we're not talking about this.
Yeah, we are.
No, we're
Sci-Fi
not.
Lands rights to Chucky
No, we're
TV
not.
series.
No, we're not.
On scene. There he is, right there. Chucky Boy. Oh, I mean, Robo Chucky Boy. He's not really Chucky Boy. Anyway. Deadline brings word that Sci-Fi has landed the rights to a franchise creator/writer anonymous series Chucky TV series. The Child's Play series will focus on the doll possessed by serial killer Charles Lee Ray from the movies. Oh, so the series does follow the possession? Okay. So, Mancini recently revealed that the series was set right after the events of the 2017 film Cult of Chucky. The show will also go back to the roots of the series by involving children. Oh, well, that helps. I've long wanted to bring Chucky to television, and Sci-Fi is the perfect network for us. The show will be a fresh take on the franchise, allowing us to explore Chucky's character with a depth that is uniquely afforded by the television series format, while staying true to the original vision that has terrorized audiences for over 3 decades now, Mancini said. Okay. Chucky added, in these troubled times, I believe it's my obligation as a horror icon to reach the widest possible audience on TV. For over 30 years, I've been scaring the shit out of you. But now, as Sci-Fi, I look forward to really making a difference. What the hell was that sound? I hope no one else heard that. I think that was an ad that just came on for a second. And Chris Field says, I'm not toyophobic. My best friend is a good guy doll. Ah, damn it. Okay. So they're producing this, and yay, and that's good, and we are done with that article. You feeling okay there, Creepy? Why do you want to choke me to death? Only a little choke to death. Only a little. Tiny bit. A little bit.
Anyway.
No choke to death? Okay, a lot of choke. A big choke to death.
Moving on. So I was confused about one thing. I was like, okay, wait. We heard that it was a robot. And now it's like, are they going with the possession thing? Is it a robot that is possessed? Did they make up your mind?
Now I'm just like, okay, which other article? Oh, we should really talk about this before ending, which might be soon or something. I'm not sure. Are we going to stop at 2 hours, or are we going to keep going to 5?
I don't even know what you're talking about, because all you did was, from my standpoint, was stare off to the side for a minute.
Well, it's bad news. Sad news. It's not about something being canceled, but it's about something far worse, in my opinion. Shaboom.
Oh.
So yeah, Dick Miller has passed on. Now at age 90, yeah, he's been around for a while. So it's kind of odd to say, oh man, I can't believe it. But at the same time, it's like, oh man, he's been around forever. I expected him to be in like every movie ever going forward, and that's not going to happen anymore.
Dick Miller, a prolific character actor who appeared in Gremlins, The Terminator, The Burbs, and countless other blockbusters, has died at the age of 90. Born to a Russian Jewish family in the Bronx, New York, Miller served in the United States Navy, attended Columbia University, performed on Broadway, and worked at multiple clinics before moving out to California in 1952. Damn, he had a full life before he even started acting. Just to do all that? I mean, I'm just saying, that's kind of impressive just by itself. A regular of Roger Corman, Joe Dante, and James Cameron, Miller would go on to star in over 100 films and television series, becoming one of the most recognizable character actors. Among his major highlights include Police Squad, Fame, The Howling, Night of the Creeps, A Bucket of Blood, which Decker has reviewed.
Oh, yeah.
The Little Shop of Horrors, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight, and oh yeah, I remember that movie. And yes, Gremlins 2, The New Batch. He is survived by his late wife, he is not survived by his late wife.
That'd be weird. We're getting into more horror movie territory there.
He is survived by his wife, Lainey Miller. I believe I was pronouncing her name right.
We got a couple of Dick Miller retrospective videos here on the article on consequenceofsound.net. So that's nice in case anyone wants to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a sad, sad time. That was very recently, too.
Mm-hmm.
It was within the last few days, news came of Miller's passing.
Right. I remember watching Gremlins 2, The New Batch, and him having a much more prominent role in the second film. And, like, it had been so long since I saw the first Gremlins film that I was like, who the hell is this guy? Important? Like, it had been so long ago since I had seen the first Gremlins movie that I actually mistook him for, what's his face? The main character from the first film, the dude. I mistook him for his father, because I did remember the dad, though. I remember the dad, having, like, like weird stuff he was in his house, like just different inventions and so forth. And then, I was like, is this the same guy?
But yeah, sad. I was really hoping that at some point, I'm like, okay, there's going to be some point where he's going to get another starring role and he's going to kick all the asses. It's like the only movie that he really was the lead in, as far as I know, was A Bucket of Blood.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like people were like, oh, he can't really do a leading role. He just never got it. But I don't think he ever really cared either. I think he was just happy to do his parts.
Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, like, apparently the directors liked him and thought he did a good job because he had consistent work. He was in over 100 movies, and all these big name directors kept inviting him back to, play characters in their films. So I don't think they hated him, is the thing.
Yeah. So that's the sad news. But I'm looking at the time, I'm like, oh, there's all this news that I want to get to, but there's not that much time. Now I understand Patricia's method into her madness of 3-hour things. Because this is something that I'm like, okay, creepy. You definitely you are going to be interested in this, and it's going to make you feel a lot happier than that little, like the horrible news of terribleness and sadness. You must look forward to the glory of positivity. I'm gonna become a inspirational speaker after this. That's going to be my new gig. So
bring up the article.
Okay, fine.
Warner Brothers developing animated Batman Beyond movie for the theatrical release. Yes, please.
I remember Return of the Joker. That was pretty freaking awesome. The Batman Beyond 2-part pilot episode was also packaged as Batman Beyond the movie for some reason.
Yeah, that sometimes happens.
But yeah, Return of the Joker was a whole lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. Yes, you read that correctly. After concept art of an unknown animated Batman movie was produced on r/DCEU leaks, the GWW did some digging and learned that the Warner Animation Group is working on an animated Batman Beyond movie that will be receiving a theatrical release. Sources tell us that this is DC's response to Sony's incredibly successful animated movie, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which I have seen and was very good. They're currently targeting a 2022 release.
Well, by then, fucking Batman Beyond is going to be real.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, okay, so basically you're releasing this movie not long before the time period when Batman Beyond was set in. Anyway, release, but that is not set in stone, so it could come even later than that. A cast and crew have not been announced. Super Bro Movies writer Daniel Rickman also showed us a slate of when WAG movies will go into production, with a DC one in 2020. It is likely that this is the 2020 project. So is it? Oh, go into production. Meaning, okay, so they're thinking it'll go into production in 2020 and come out in 2022. Wow, that's a long time. They're gonna let it sit on the shelf for over a year. Anyway,
Scott Duncan's like Batman Beyond versus Shaggy.
Gotta have Kevin Conroy in there. I agree to this. The film will be based on the 90s series of the same name, which saw high schooler Terry McGinnis take up the mantle of Batman under the wing of a retired Bruce Wayne in the year 2039. It ran for 52 episodes before ending in December 2001. Yes, it did.
The best episodes. Batman Beyond was a favorite of mine.
Really?
I mean, you had a lot of the Batman stories and such, and there were the differences between all the different, Batman versions out there. But Batman Beyond, in my opinion, really took it into a direction that you really didn't see in any other kind of Batman, with a cyberpunk aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it really worked with giving Batman, it was kind of a way to give Batman superpowers, but also have him going up against supervillains with superpowers, but it was all still set in the real world. It's just the way I kind of took it.
No, it's just, I'm surprised, you always have said over and over again that you were never much for television, so it's kind of a shock. I've known you for almost 7 years now, and I think this might be the first time you've ever mentioned that.
Oh.
So it's kind of it's just, a surprise to hear it, so.
Batman Beyond.
Did you know that Batman Beyond was created in response to Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
I was not aware of this. Now, does it surprise you to know that I didn't watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
No, well, I'm not surprised, although you should. It's actually a good show, and you should watch it.
I did watch quite a bit of Angel, actually.
Angel is complicated. It's a good show, and it's.
I know there's plenty of stuff happened that I had no fucking clue why, but it was still done well enough that I didn't care so much that I didn't get what the hell was going on.
That is kind of the complicated part, because you pretty much have to at least be familiar with Buffy in order to understand what the hell is going on with Angel. But anyway, you should watch Buffy. But no, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was such a huge
Playdeath says Buffy was a face-off with Charmed.
No, actually, Charmed came after Buffy. Buffy came first in early '97. It was a mid-season replacement. And Charmed came like a year and a half later, I want to say. But anyway, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was such a huge hit. They wanted to make a Batman series. They wanted to do something with DC property that would compare to it. What they actually came up with was, and I shit you not, there is conceptual art of this online that backs this up, so look it up if you don't believe me. What they came up with was Gotham High, where Bruce Wayne is a teenager, is Batman, and the entire Rogues Gallery are his classmates. The Joker is a student at Gotham High, not like a civilian.
Oh, thank God it wasn't me.
The Joker is a student at Gotham High, and so was Harley Quinn too, his girlfriend. There is conceptual art of this that backs this up. And this was like some proto Teen Titans Go shit that they had come up with. And it was so bad that they just said, okay, you're going to have to start over and just build this from the ground up. So what they
pulled a Metroid Prime 4 on them.
Basically, yeah, they pulled a Metroid Prime 4. So basically, what they ended up doing was taking
Corey 2000 makes a good point. You get to Ivy and Harley in cheerleader costumes.
I think that was the major selling point, believe it or not. But anyway, they took the idea of Batman as a high school student, but instead of it being Bruce Wayne, it became Terry McGinnis, with Bruce Wayne being older now and passing the hat on the cape and cowl onto, figuratively speaking, since Batman Beyond didn't wear those, onto Terry McGinnis. And that became the whole story. They even tried to do the whole thing where the monster is a metaphor concept, where the things that Terry McGinnis deals with as a superhero are allegories for teenage life and adolescence. And I have to say that I feel like Buffy did this a little bit better than Batman Beyond did. Although Batman Beyond is not a terrible series at all. No.
Yeah, but they had sort of the Bane-ish creature. He was like a drug dealer.
Yeah, well, he was. It was the episode that dealt with steroid abuse, where the athletes
and they had the slaps, I think.
Yeah, slappers they called them. Yeah, but it was like the Bane formula. Venom was, instead of being injected into you, you slapped basically a smoker's patch on your arm, and you got steroids into your system.
And Bruce was certain that it was Bane.
Right,
he was back. He was doing bad stuff, and they finally get to Bane, and he is fucked up.
Yes,
his life on Venom has just completely annihilated his entire capability to do anything besides stay barely alive. He's like at a catheter. He can't even
He needed like basically an iron. He needed a machine to keep both his heart and his lungs still going. Like basically,
he needed Venom just to live.
Right,
which meant he had to entrust the formula to someone, which was his caretaker, who then took that formula and turned it into some drugs to sell to these fucking child athletes.
Right. So that was actually one of the better written episodes too, ironically enough. So
well, that's one reason I was like, hey, there's that one.
Yeah. It's like, it sounds like we're describing a school break special over here, but that was actually one of the better written episodes still. But
why not make Batman the geriatric years? Asked Rodzilla Aragundi. And that's kind of what Batman Beyond was as well.
Pretty much.
Bruce Wayne was still around. He was just too old to really go out and do too much, except in extreme circumstances.
I actually liked the opening, very first episode. It shows Bruce, who's in like his 50s.
Yeah, his late 50s or so.
Like late 50s, early 60s, and he's in the Batman Beyond suit. And like it's far enough along in the future to where Alfred is dead. I mean, they never actually state that, but the implication that I always got from that was that Alfred was already dead when the episode first starts off. But he's fighting some crooks, and he has a heart attack in the middle of the fight. And in desperation, he reaches over and grabs a gun and points it at a guy, which terrifies him, and he runs off. And then in the aftermath, he's just horrified by what he's done, because Batman's, has always had rules that he set up for himself. And one was that he would never, ever use a firearm.
I mean, at least if it's not past the early runs of the comics, don't ignore that.
Yeah. Yeah, the no killing, no firearms thing, that
came along after Batman came along.
Right. But
he predates his own rules.
But I mean, like, it does give, seeing that for the first time when I was a kid, I was like, okay, I believe he retired then. It's like after seeing that, I was like, okay, I get it. I get why he retired then, because just from that alone, that told me.
And Darth Necrosis is like, and yet Michael Keaton's Batman blew up a guy.
That has pissed me off to no end. I swear, there's a reason why I can't watch the 1989 Batman movie. And I have had this argument with Yama so many times. Yama, who is like a self-professed social justice warrior, will defend this movie to no end. And I'm like, he blew up a factory full of fucking people. This is not how Batman works, okay? I would believe this of Superman. Superman before I believe Batman did this.
Casey Link says Ben Affleck did worse as Batman. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah, Scott Duncan, I was told to stop ignoring your question, and I see it coming up every once in a while about reviewing the Netflix Godzilla movies. And I don't have that on the docket just yet, and I think that I would want to go through more of the Heisei and the Millennium Godzilla movies. But there's nothing saying that I won't. It's just I don't know when. I should probably set out more time for kaiju. It's fun. Okay, so
anyway, I think I've calmed down. I think I've calmed down. I pulled a Decker there. I was like Decker in his car talking about Predator. But yes, that movie pissed me off so much. Like, I guess the Batman Returns was an improvement. It had Michelle Pfeiffer in a cat suit, so yeah.
But that's the one where he literally straps a bomb to a guy's belly and throws him down the thing, and it's
yeah.
I mean, we can imagine that as he fell, he quickly threw the thing off and just got teleported away by Scotty. You know, maybe it's a chance.
You know, for a nerd, for a geek, you are really, really bad at coming up with fan theories.
God damn it. Oh, well.
I find it kind of a contradiction in your whole existence, but oh well.
I'm just looking at the YouTube news that Patricia came up with, and I'm seeing the one, and I'm like, I see the title of the article, and I do not want to dig into it.
What's the title of the article?
YouTube star Austin Jones pleads guilty to child porn.
This is uncomfortable.
Jones admitted to enticing 6 underage girls to send him explicit videos to prove they were his biggest. Then it cuts off there, and I'm like, nope, already heard enough. I mean, usually saying, "Oh, you stopped at the title, you got all uppity about it, and then you just didn't even read the article. You don't know anything." It's like, it says he pleads guilty, so I think that is a good amount of information right there. Cheese Dart's like, bruh. And Blake the Gambling Hero is like, okay, moving on. And Kat Liniska is also rightly says, who is Austin Jones? Indeed.
So, anyway, it just seems like, you know, like we have this whole thing where the show hasn't been a complete disaster, and then just there are these periods of awkward.
Okay, YouTube wants dislike mobs to stop weaponizing the dislike bar. Weaponize? I mean, yeah, there are chances where people just go and, like, mass dislike, but I wouldn't call that weaponization. I mean, unless YouTube's been lying and it really does result in very bad algorithmic changes. Last I checked, it really didn't do anything, though. But maybe this is... YouTube wants dislike mobs to stop weaponizing the dislike bar. Coincidentally enough, this article written not too long after their YouTube Rewind 2018, the most disliked video ever. So
basically, it's not so much that they want people to stop weaponizing the dislike button against other YouTubers. They want people to stop weaponizing the dislike bar against them.
Quite possibly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, or they might take away the power to dislike altogether. Like,
what are we going back to the 5-star system?
I doubt it.
Does anybody remember that? I'm asking seriously. Like, does anybody here remember when YouTube first, like, within the first?
Barely. I remember way back when certain channels, because the ratings actually did matter too. Like, it did affect your results in search.
Right.
And that was what problem they had, was people would review bomb a video, and after doing so, it wouldn't show up in search results as much, so people would put annotations up, back when you could still do that too, telling them, hey guys, we've been review bombed, so if you could put a 5-star rating to try and counteract that. That'd be great. If you liked the video.
Mm-hmm.
Chess Dart says, saw 30 seconds of YouTube Rewind 2018. That was enough for me. But yeah. I got another little bit of YouTube news.
Always with the YouTube news.
A new scam holds YouTube channels for ransom. Scammers are abusing the YouTube policy violation system by filing fake copyright infringements against content creators until their channel is close to being suspended. These scammers then hold the channel ransom by telling YouTubers to send them a payment, or they will file another copyright infringement to have the channel suspended. YouTube has a policy infringement system where users can report a video that they feel breaks policies such as sexual content or nudity, hateful content, violent or graphic content, or copyright infringement. When a video receives a policy violations report, it will be reviewed if it is deemed to be a violation. It will be reviewed if it is deemed to be a violation. YouTube will issue a strike against the video's owner's account and remove the video. It doesn't get reviewed. That doesn't happen. It gets a strike.
Right.
That's how it works. There's no review process. That's the problem.
But I mean, so how is this different from every day of our lives?
Well, now people are pointing out that it's a problem, but the article still doesn't exactly say how much of a problem it is, because it's still, it says it'll be reviewed. It's no, the problem is it isn't reviewed, because if it was, it wouldn't have happened in the first place. They would get the notification saying this person says this is a strike. This is a problem, this is sexual content, and you look and it's a fucking toy review. Anyone would know that's not sexual content, but no one checks. That's the thing. It's not reviewed. It's okay, strike. If a YouTube account receives 3 strikes in a period of 3 months, their account will be terminated. Unfortunately, with these violations, it is common for YouTube to treat the channel owners as guilty until proven innocent. Common. That's an interesting word for 100% of the time.
Yes.
Common. Scammers know this and are now utilizing the system in order to extort money from content creators on YouTube, which is what a content creator named Logan, or Obby Raids, recently discovered. In a video, Logan has stated that his YouTube channel has been striked twice for fake copyright infringement violations, and that a scammer is trying to extort him by saying that they will issue a 3rd strike if Logan does not send them money via PayPal or Bitcoin. Send them Bitcoins. The scammer goes on to say that if Logan makes the payment, they will contact YouTube and remove the previous strikes they had placed on the channel.
And YouTube is going to listen to this scammer? How are they able to have that?
They have more clout than the channel. Some random asshat filing copyright claims has an actual way to contact YouTube, evidently.
Something that in almost 20 years, in over 10, okay, sorry, I overestimated, but something that in over a decade, no one that I know has that power. So how did they get it?
The message that Logan received was from someone named Vengeful Flame, who stated that Logan needs to send them $150 via PayPal or $75 in Bitcoin, or the scammer will issue a 3rd strike. It is the lovely message that he received after repeatedly trying to get YouTube to respond and help him, and unsuccessful appeals to remove the strikes. Logan went to Twitter, where he asked other YouTubers and his followers to try and spread the word. It turns out that the scammer was monitoring him on Twitter as well, because Logan received another message from Vengeful Flame stating that they saw Logan's tweet and that the deal was off. Vengeful Flame further stated that they would now try to get his Twitter account suspended as well. Enjoy your 3rd copyright strike, and we'll be making an attempt for your Twitter to get suspended too. So, fun. Turns out that Logan was not the only person Vengeful Flame was extorting. Another YouTuber named Kenzo was also striked by the same person as shown below. Vengeful payments. When Kenzo received his extortion message, though, his ransom payments were at a higher amount of $200 in Bitcoin or $300 in PayPal. This increase in price could be because Kenzo has substantially more subscribers than Logan. Okay, found it. What? Okay, what's going on? Yeah, why? What? Everything's gone now. Okay, everything went away. But I guess you get the point.
Oh, damn it. I wanted to know what the rest of the article said.
Well, it goes on to be they tend to give them power to the people making the claims. Not tend to. They do. They do.
Mm-hmm.
The decision of whether or not the claim is valid is made by the claimant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very broken system. The only reason why it's still going is because it's a system that us plebs have to deal with. Fucking Jimmy Fallon, you think he has to deal with this shit? No. When someone makes a claim against Jimmy Fallon, I don't think it counts for one thing. But if it does, they get checked and figure out whether or not it's valid. At which point, of course, it's like, no, go away. But yeah. The problem is that the system allows for this kind of abuse, and we've already been getting this kind of abuse from the big companies. I've been having to deal with MGM's bullshit with the RoboCop reviews, and you're like, well, you probably think, well, Decker, it is their movie; they do have the right to administer strikes if they think it's a problem. And it's like, yes, that's true, but the problem is it's not in violation, and they don't care. They don't check. They have been making ad revenue off of the RoboCop 2014 review. All the ads playing on it is going to MGM. Because I already have two things I'm appealing from MGM, so I can't have a third, or else I welcome the potential for a third strike against the channel, which would nuke everything. So I'm waiting for those appeals to go through. And MGM, for filing all these copyright claims that are false, what are they getting out of it? They're getting a little more money, honestly. They're getting paid because they are going to make money on those ads that are playing. And that it's like that's their incentive to just claim everything and not give a shit, is they end up getting paid more. They don't get in trouble for it. So of course you're going to have people abusing the system if you fucking incentivize abusing the system.
Right.
So Jack Brand dropped $5 saying, breaking news, Sega and Sony have inked a deal with Christine Chan on CWCville, merging with our universe. I wonder who they'll cast as Ted Bundy. I have no idea what the hell was just said.
Chris Chan, Sonichu.
I know that much, but on CWCville merging with our universe, who they'll cast as Ted Bundy.
Oh. Yeah, that part confuses me. Can we? I mean, you don't need to. It doesn't need to be a super chat, but we kind of need some more context here.
Okay, it's kind of like what's happening on Steam now. One guy stealing hundreds of Steam accounts, claiming they are an admin for Steam, and they be your friend saying, "Oh no, I accidentally reported you."
Uh-huh. I am kind of surprised that Sega and Sony are willing to go here, because, like, I remember for years back when Christine Chan was Chris Chan, was claiming that, like, he was waiting to hear back from Sony or Sega about making Sonichu a game or a movie or a TV show or something, and apparently this is happening, so...
Chris Chan defended Ted Bundy. Really?
Oh, thank you. Okay, yeah, that helps.
Can you copyright strike against yourself for the money? That has been a bit of it has been a sort of a joke. I don't think you can technically do it on your own account, but say I made a second Google account and copy struck myself. Possibly. The system is broken enough. All I have to do is, like, as myself, not complain about me copy striking myself. Just don't push it forward to a strike territory. Like, do a content ID thing. Like, say, this has my stuff, but I would like revenue for it. And I don't know if it's so easy to do the revenue thing, because that one guy who was uploading entire reviews of mine on his own channel, it didn't give me the option to say, have ads play on this that go to me, because I would have preferred that. I don't mind that my videos can be found on someone else's channel, but if it's just my video and you haven't changed it at all, except for then putting the first half of the video after the entire video to confuse the content ID filter, even like it with just like it's straight up, this is copyright infringement, I was still like, okay, I don't care if someone can find my stuff on your channel. I'd like to make some of the ad revenue on it, though, because it is straight up copyright infringement what you're doing here. But I didn't have that option. The only option I could give was a takedown notice, which I did. Problem is, I did about 80 of them, and that guy doesn't have a channel anymore. Sorry.
Xspawn13 says, just create a loop of strikes, like the copyright strike singularity circle.
Google Plus is done as of April 2nd, says Brandon Kilgore, and
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting because it also is a little baked into YouTube. So last time they tried to mess around with that, that caused the great YouTube outage. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I mean, on the other hand, I'm like, people use Google Plus like for I mean, like I use it to like send the link to my YouTube videos there, but I don't know if many people find me that way. So I'm like, I know one person, a friend of mine, Paul, aka the Gay Comic Geek, he posted on his Facebook feed that he got the notification that his Google Plus account was going away, and he was like, I have a Google Plus account. And then he was like,
it scared the shit out of my fiance at first because she just gets an email out of nowhere talking about your Google account is going to be terminated. What? Google Plus. Oh, fuck it then.
Yeah. Yeah, I was given a Google Plus account way back when they forced it on everybody so that you had to use Google Plus because otherwise nobody gave a shit about Google Plus. They had to make everybody have a Google Plus account in order to get anybody to use it.
I think Jason X9000 asks, what would the policy change they're trying to push on YouTube that will allow further restrictions? It's something that I feel needs to be brought up. I'm trying to figure out exactly what you said. But I'm just thinking, like, when it comes to the strikes and claims, the way they have it right now is they have, like, right now you have what's the word I'm looking for? You have like the preferred creators. You have the ones that they are above the system. They don't have to worry about random copyright strikes because you can't randomly copy strike their content. It will always be reviewed. What I think is what the band-aid on the broken leg here is to make it so you have preferred copy strikers. Now, this sounds like a horrible idea because it pretty much is, but it's a better idea than what we have right now. Right now, it's just everyone can copy strike for fucking Wild West. Who fucking cares? Nothing's going to get checked, and everyone can get fucked over and have their channels held for ransom by random assholes.
Right.
If you have preferred copy strikers, you have companies like MGM. They'd still be able to fuck me, but I wouldn't have to worry about random asshole who lives in a shitty apartment holding my channel for ransom. They would not be a preferred copy striker. If they try and copy strike someone would check to see if it is valid.
Right.
Whereas MGM would still get the automatic, would just assume you're right.
Right.
So it's a band-aid on the broken leg. It's still a fucked up system, but it would be less fucked up than we have right now. That's what I have hope for.
when it comes to YouTube, you have to just, kind of hope and pray for the, way that is not as horrible.
Oh god, Horror Fan on YouTube says YouTube here in Germany is really broken. And yeah, Germany has all the rules with music and stuff, and plenty of things completely blocked in Germany just because of a few seconds of music here or there.
Playdeath says the new changes will remove personal opinions on historical facts, and fear mongering, like all things copyright and artistic licensing, is also being targeted.
Yeah. So let's find a happy piece of news or something. I don't know. Something pleasant, something good, something positive, positively pleasant and good.
Apologies, this is going to be too much information, but my butt was falling asleep, so I needed to move. Sorry about that, everybody.
Okay, here we go. Share. Rambo vs. Predator? Rambo 5 was originally going to be a monster movie. What Rambo 5, The Savage Hunt, was about. Now, that's kind of interesting. Rambo versus Predator. I would be in the theater day -5 for that.
You would be in the front row seat, staring up, like, neck craned like this up at the screen.
Oh, God. So you want to take this one? You want to take this one, Creepy?
I can. I'm surprised you don't want it, but okay.
Oh, I've just been reading like everything.
You got all the terrible, terrible YouTube news, so I'll take the one that you would normally get. So, what Rambo 5, The Savage Hunt was about, which you've already said. Stallone has openly wrestled with the idea of a 5th Rambo movie because he has to get people to watch him somehow, and has gone back and forth on it over the years, trying to find someone who would take it. He was satisfied that Rambo's final scene, where the character returns home after decades of self-imposed exile, was a fitting ending and worried another entry would cheapen it. He's probably right. He even briefly quit the project in 2016 when a more soulful, character-driven pitch he conceived with author David Morrell was rejected by producers. Interestingly, however, his initial pitch would have put the series in a new genre entirely. In 2009, it was revealed James Byron Huggins. Huggins? Someone has the last name Huggins. Huggins' 1999 novel Hunter would form the basis of Rambo 5, The Savage Hunt. The book centers on Nathaniel Hunter, the world's best tracker. When a mysterious beast starts ripping through the facilities in the Arctic Circle, Hunter is tasked with leading a team of elite soldiers to track and kill it. The plan doesn't go so well, like it does, as their first encounter with the creature reveals it to be an impossibly fast and bulletproof. They soon have to make it to an extraction point while stalked by a savage, but a surprisingly intelligent beast. Hunter also begins to suspect it might be man-made. Hunter is a trashy but fun read, full of gory action scenes, larger-than-life characters, high-tech weaponry, and some dubious science. Yay!
Oh, that's my favorite kind.
I was going to say, this sounds like a movie that either I or Decker or both of us would read, so... Horror and sci-fi are two genres Stallone has tended to avoid throughout his career, but he had a creative hand in developing the book alongside the author. This explains so much, especially dubious science. It seems the part of the story that really appealed to him is the Jekyll and Hyde quality, with a civilized man coming face to face with his inner rage-filled id. Okay. That's probably why he felt Rambo would be a good fit inside of dropping the character into yet another war zone. Rambo finds himself confronting his inner beast. But this would also require Stallone to act. And yeah, I think I don't need to say anymore.
So why the Savage Hunt didn't happen?
Why the Savage Hunt didn't happen. A plot synopsis appeared for Rambo 5, The Savage Hunt, with the plot being virtually identical to Hunter, but with the addition of a new sidekick character named Bo Brady. It appears the concept never made it to actual script form. However, Stallone quickly dropped the idea following fan reaction to Rambo battling a monster. He's never dropped the idea of making Hunter, though, and after plans to make a 3D adventure out of it came to nothing back in 2012, it was recently confirmed his production company will tackle the adaptation in the near future. Would Rambo 5, The Savage Hunt have worked? On the face of it, it's hard to track how a franchise that began with a
proofreading.
With a traumatized veteran declaring war on a small town could evolve into Rambo punching a literal monster. That said, it's hard to track how it began that way and evolved him into driving a tank into a helicopter in Rambo 3 either. Yeah, when people talk about the Rambo series, they tend to talk about 2 and 3 and don't mention number 1. Yeah. With the right approach, it could have been kind of fascinating to see the series completely switch gears into a full-on creature feature, but one with a psychological angle. It's probably for the best that it didn't happen, but fans will get to see Hunter on the big screen regardless and decide for themselves if Rambo versus Predator could have possibly worked.
Okay. So yeah, I like the idea personally, but at the same time, I think of course they're not. They're being a little dishonest with the whole Rambo versus Predator. It's not Predator. It's a different thing, different creature, different stuff. There wasn't a deal with Rambo to fight the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
As fun as that would have been. I mean, the Predator say the Rambo's in a fucking war in a really hot area and having to kick all the asses, and the fucking Predator comes down. He's gonna look at Rambo like, oh, that's a fucking trophy right there. Or that's some fucking shit I'd like to inject into my spine.
I mean, like, just the title alone, Rambo 5, The Savage Hunt, or Rambo versus Predator, it sounds like the sort of movie that a bunch of fourth graders would talk about at lunchtime or in their desks when they're supposed to be doing homework or schoolwork or something, and instead they're talking about who could beat up who, X or Y, and then the idea of Rambo versus Predator comes up, and boom, that's your new blockbuster movie right there. I feel like that's where movie producers in Hollywood are going now. They're just going to start camping out beside, chatty white kids, or just kids in general in 4th and 5th grade, and go like, okay, kids, give me something to work with here. What's my next hit?
Oh, boy. But, yeah. There's some other news, but I'm not so certain about jumping on any of it, because we are late into this thing. Now, there's some interesting stuff. A new director for the Invisible Man movie coming up. Leigh Whannell has signed on to direct the Invisible Man movie. That's nice.
Yay.
Jennifer Kent is working on something scary with so and so. It's not. It's truncated in the damn preview of the article. Damn it! But it's a bloody disgusting article.
How dare you? How dare you make me actually open the article and read it? Damn you!
There's a rumored new Arkham game, Batman Arkham Crisis. This Motherboard .vice has a little article talking some shit about Nintendo, as they have shut down the Wii Store channel, and it's saying, okay, Nintendo's making it pretty clear to us that the only way to actually preserve old games is through piracy. It's like, technically, yeah. There's going to be a TV series off of Stephen King's The Stand. Or TV movie. I'm not sure. It says officially becoming a new TV, and then it's truncated, and I'm pretty sure The Stand itself is not going to be a TV.
I'm like, well, considering how thick the book is, I mean, this is that Stephen King book that the urban legend started, that it fell off a shelf and murdered and killed a chihuahua.
Geeky Rant evidently has some information on the original script for Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead.
All right, let's hear that.
There's an Escape from New York remake being worked on, written by Leigh Whannell.
Who?
I don't know, but they're the writer and director for The Invisible Man, and they're also writing a remake of Escape from New York.
I probably won't go see it.
Frankenstein drama plot ordered by CBS? What?
Yeah, I heard about that. Apparently, there's like this TV series that's like a cop drama or a detective show where Frankenstein is the central character.
As in Frankenstein's monster?
Yes.
Detective Frankenstein's monster?
Yes.
Or Detective Monster, first name Frankenstein's possessive.
Like, actually in the book, people tend to call him Adam.
I guess that makes sense, actually. He was a created man.
You're right. So Adam Frankenstein.
Okay. And there's a trailer for The Haunting of Sharon Tate with Hilary Duff in it. But yeah, there's a good amount here that I'm like, do we dig into any of it, or are we? It is 2.5 right now, and we should be talking about what we are working on. And I should be going to my fiance like, hey, we didn't take 3 hours today.
Decker wants to score some bonus points with it.
I am desperately low on bonus points. She is. Oh God. Darth Necrosis says, I'm starting to think the movie parodies in The Critic were just ahead of their time. Oh, God. It stinks.
Yeah, that's going to be Decker's, that's just going to be how Decker's show goes from now on. It stinks.
Oh, God. But yes. Should I talk about what I'm working on?
Go ahead. Talk about what you're working on.
Right. First of all, the Moontrap 2 review is being worked on. It is being scripted, and I do intend to have it come out on schedule, as I've been actually managing to do for the last couple of weeks, and I'm very happy about. Just have been letting the...
That has been happening?
Huh?
Have you told people why that's been happening?
Because I put the gaming channel on one hell of a back burner. And so there hasn't been too much on the gaming channel lately.
So you don't owe this to anyone else or any other specific reason?
Not really. Goddamn, I need to blink.
I win.
Dang. So, the new stand will be a CSB All Access app. What? I'm confused. I'm more confused. More confused than ever before. So, is that about the Death Star? What about the... I don't know. Low in bonus points. Trial cat over her... So, the fuck you back burner. Yeah. But I got some stuff going on the gaming channel right now. It has nothing to do with gaming, but I'm figuring, hell, if MXR Plays can just have videos of him and his girlfriend just reacting to TikTok videos, then I can put up me reading an early draft script of The Predator. And there is a long damn way to go on that because it is the entire damn movie script. And it is an early draft, and there are a lot of things, a lot of scenes that didn't make it into the final movie, and a lot of alternates, a lot of differences, and it's not good. There are some things that are better than the final production, some things that are much worse, and some things that are absolutely fucking horrible and are exactly the same between the script and the final theatrical version. Things that they've just sat on for years, like, yeah, that's good, we're keeping that.
I've got X-Men review coming up. I just posted recently a new DuckTales retrospective video. I don't know if anyone's seen it, enough people have seen it yet, because it seems like YouTube is doing that thing where, I'm not sure that the video is like going through the algorithm circulation fast enough, or people aren't getting their update, getting alerted when they should, but I'm hoping.
Yeah. Ooh, feel like I should make more live and wired polls. I just gotta put polls together all the time. That's what I do. Need to make polls. Need to find out what people think about random bullshit. Anyway. Okay. Plot twist at the sidekick comes. Everything's going to be everything is scrolling so fast. People check the comment. Okay. Just cook some food. Oh, that's great. Okay. So, yeah.
Thank you, Savage Tiger.
Gotta get up on that script. Also, Creepy and I still doing the Tokuhiro riffs.
Yes.
And we got. Have you put the latest one up yet?
Yes. I put it up Thursday evening, I believe it was. Yes, Thursday 31st. Last day before January ended. So technically it went up, in time.
Okay, good. Yeah, it was the Japanese Spider-Man, all the space Nazi ducks you can eat. And I'm looking forward to our next episode because the preview showed all the ladies in bikinis.
Yeah, Decker's really excited for that one.
And the last riff that I did for Patreon and the channel members on YouTube was, what the hell was it called? Battle from Space or some weird thing. It was weird. very weird. It was actually originally a Japanese television series that got re-edited into a movie like a decade later in America,
Right.
and it had space Nazis, like
Mm.
not playing around. They were described as a strange alien species from another planet that is trying to take over the universe, and they're starting with Earth. Why not? And they are Nazis. They dress like Nazis. They look like Nazis. They have Nazi symbols. They walk up to each other and go like this all the time. They're fucking Nazis.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is this?
Right.
But Japanese Superman comes in and just beats the crap out of them, and then takes their guns and shoots them.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. So I don't know how I'm going to top that this month, but yeah. Hopefully I can actually get some gaming done on the gaming channel, though, to break up reading the Predator early draft scripts.
We did say earlier, we might play EDF 5 tomorrow, so we'll see.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Like, if we could do it in the afternoon instead of the evening, that would be great, because...
that means we're going to have to get up early.
No, I mean, I'm saying like 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I usually get up at 5.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, thank you all for watching, so that Decker can go and be with his fiance and win some boyfriend/fiance points with her. Thank you all for watching. I've been that long-haired creepy guy.
And remember, Chucky is coming on TV and on the big screen. Though on the big screen it's just going to be a fucking toy. But on TV it's going to be a possessed toy.
I know where you sleep, remember?
Good night, everyone.